Hey guys, and welcome to Little Black Book 91. We're giving you guys a live conversation with Ready to Love Demetrius. Yes, it's going to be one of those conversations that I know you guys gonna have questions upon questions. I'm gonna ask you guys just be fair and be responsible in the chat. You will get blocked if you are moving mad. So please keep it respectful. Demetrius, how you doing today? You all right?
I'm great, sir. I'm great, sir. How you doing?
I'm alive and well. I'm kicking and I'm feeling good.
Okay, had a good weekend. Had a good weekend.
I did have a good weekend. I'm not gonna lie to you, and I chilled. So I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm ready to go Monday. You know that. So yeah, man.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, sir, before we get the conversation flowing, I like to make sure that we want to make sure you're human. You know what I'm saying? Because you're looking good. You're looking sharp. You probably even smell good. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, but you probably
Little
smell
shea butter, little shea butter,
little shea butter.
right there, little shea butter.
Okay. Now, my first question actually to you, I'm gonna flip it around today, is maybe I don't know if you can give away your secret. What aftershave do you normally wear or perfume with? I don't know how you lot say in America, but
Well, cologne.
cologne. That's how you guys say it. Which cologne would you say that you're?
Yeah, I don't want to. I don't want to drop that. Well, I
Ah!
will. I
Drop
will.
drop one of yours, not the top one. Just drop one of your, good ones.
I mean, I'll give this one. I'll give this one away. I would say my top. I'll say my top three. Is Prada Black.
Prada Black. Okay.
Prada Black. Yes. Prada Black. Try it out. I'm not going to lead you wrong down the wrong path. Prada Black.
I trust you on that, sir. I trust you. Prada Black.
Prada Black.
I'm gonna look into that. I just wanted a free tip. All right, cool. My second question on that. All right, cool. If you were on an island, sir, Demetrius, you were on an island, sun is shining, skies are blue, the water's also blue, calm seas. Your boat's broken though, and you got 5% on your iPod. What song? One last song you can play on it. What song would you play?
I would play. I'm an old school type of guy when it comes to like music.
Oh, okay.
So I would say Randy Crawford, Endlessly. Randy Crawford, Endlessly. Yes.
Never actually heard that song before.
You might check it out.
Check it out. Okay. What's the genre? Is that like a R&B? Is it soul? Is it blues?
No, it's an old school, like an old school R&B type of song. It was I think it was like came out in like 1978 or 79. One of them.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna check it out, Randy Crawford. All right, cool.
Randy Crawford, Endlessly. Check it out.
Endlessly. All right, cool. I'm gonna get on that. All right, good. Appreciate it. My third question here for you today, Captain: milk or cereal in the bowl first, sir?
I would say cereal. I gotta say cereal. Cereal first.
You gonna say cereal first?
Cereal first. I have to because I want to get the right amount of cereal. And then I put the milk in to match the amount of cereal that I got in the bowl. So it has to be, you know what I'm saying, an uneven balance. I want more cereal than milk, but I want it like 3/4 of the way, you know what I mean, between the cereal and the milk. Calculated, that's just me.
Hey, listen, I ain't gonna try and change your mind.
That's me.
I ain't gonna try and change your mind. It sounds good. It sounds good to me. All right, cool. I think you've passed our human verification. You are human, sir, and we appreciate you for that. And that means we can start the conversation flowing. Okay. My first question to you, as it always is Demetrius. Who is Demetrius, and what is your story?
Who is Demetrius? Demetrius is a guy from the Bronx, New York, who had, not a great childhood, but I would say a good childhood compared to things that's going on in the world today. I lost my mom at an early age, and I had to go transition to living with my aunt and uncle, which is my uncle is her twin brother, so twins run in my family. So that's another fact. I'm a twin. I have a twin sister and I have an older sister. I'm a twin. I see the look on your face, like what? Yeah, I'm a twin. Yeah, I'm a twin. I would say me growing up, I was real quiet. Growing up, I was real into sports. I was a sports fanatic. I'm still a sports fanatic, but I was strictly about sports. I wasn't even into girls back then. Growing up through high school, and I wasn't even into girls like that. I was into like sports. football, basketball, and baseball. That was I lived and breathed sports all day long.
I love that. What sports were you playing?
Position football is quarterback and free safety. Basketball is point guard, and baseball was pitcher and center field.
Ooh, okay. Would you say you was any good? I don't know. Would you say?
Absolutely, I was good. That was gonna be my next thing. I got scholarships when I was in high school, but I wasn't into school like that.
Oh,
I wasn't into school like that. So me and my aunt still talk about this to this day because it was because of me that I didn't go to college and at that time and play college football because I wasn't into taking tests and doing school work and things like that. But like I missed out on 5 scholarships. I like to play football because I didn't want to take the ACT. So I didn't take it and squandered those opportunities because I didn't do the things that I was supposed to do school-wise. And that's when I transitioned from, graduating high school to the military. So I entered the military at 17 years old. Yeah.
Wow. Why for you did you not want to do the ACT? I don't actually know what that is, but
it's like a test to see if you're, what school that you're going to, qualify for. So you have to get a certain score to qualify for college. So I didn't take that. I didn't take it. I was supposed to go. I was in the bed sleeping. I didn't even care about it. Young, not thinking of now. I didn't take it because I wasn't in that space. I wasn't in that headspace. It was just all about sports because sports was a way to cope with my anger issues, my abandonment issues, and things like that when it came to my mom leaving, and then my father not wanting to have us when my mom passed away. So it was a mix of all of those things and those emotions and those feelings. So I just took it out. I was like in school, but I had fun with sports. So I put my all into sports because I could let my anger out. I could just play sports and have fun and do the things that I needed to do to release my anger and that energy. But schoolwork, I was like, nah, I'm not doing it. So yeah.
Damn, that's tough. So you had 5 scholarships going, basically almost. You could have been. So
it could have been a different trajectory.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think about that to this day, and we still talk about it. I think about that to this day. But things happen for a reason. I don't regret anything that I've done. From 17 on to today because I'm successful. I have a good life. I'm not hurting for anything. I'm not lacking for anything. So the path that I was supposed to take, I guess that I took that path. You know what I mean? So I'm still blessed.
Wow, I appreciate you sharing that as well, man. Yeah. So sports for you was a big thing for you then. So growing up, sports was a big thing for you. Which one would you have chosen then? If you had your choice, it sounds like you played 2 sports, right? So
I played 3.
Played 3 even. Okay, so out of the 3, which one would you have chosen and why? If you were to have your ability to choose.
If I had to choose one, I would say basketball.
Okay.
I would say basketball. Football, football was like a close first because of the contact and the physicality of it. But I want a little finesse too. So I would say to get my happy medium, I would say I would go with basketball.
Okay. Yeah. No wrong with that too. No wrong with that. Basketball's a cool sport. We like it in the UK. I don't understand. I don't understand all the thing. I don't understand everything about it. You don't be touching each other and calling foul, but I'm with it.
Right.
Yeah. I'm with it. Okay, cool. All right. So then obviously, like you said, you didn't go into the test, but then kind of go into military as well. Like going into military, was that just a natural progression because like I said, you didn't do the necessary test for etc. Or was that something that you were also drawn to as well in terms because of physicality and again?
No, it wasn't. It was the idea of my uncle.
Okay.
He was like, hey, either you're gonna go to college, which I failed that, didn't do that. So he was like, hey, you're gonna do one of 2 things. You didn't qualify for college because you were being lazy. So it's like, hey, we're gonna get you up out of here because you're gonna either go down the path to being dead or you're gonna be, selling drugs or whatever, because that's what's all around me. So he was like, no, you're not gonna go that way. So you didn't do this. So now I'm gonna just sign you up and you're gonna go to the military. So he signed me up without me even knowing, signed me up, and the recruiter came to the house one day and was like, hey, you're gonna be going to basic training 2 months from now. So I graduated in June and I was going to basic training in September. to the Army. So I didn't even have a break really. I was like high school, military, like 2 months later.
Damn. Okay. So like, so that's straight in. So like, how do you feel when you realized you're signed up, ready to go? Like, what was kind of going through your head at that time?
I didn't know how to feel because I think I didn't have a part in that, that decision. You know what I mean? So I regretted it. Me and my uncle and my aunt, we had like a little back and forth, relationship for the first like 2 to 3 years I was in the military. And it, like, because of that, it was like, I'm only here because of you all, you know what I mean? But I didn't take ownership and responsibility for the part that I played in. So I'm young at that time. I'm not taking accountability like I'm supposed to, or anything like that. So I'm just looking for somebody to blame. So I was blaming them for the poor decisions that I made without taking, my, education serious. At that time, I thought it was just all about sports, but it wasn't. So I thought my talent was going to just walk me in school. It was like, hey, we want you to, so we're going to do whatever it takes to get you in school. And that's not, really how it works. I got to do my part too. So it was eye opening for me being 17 out on my own, going to the West Coast. Cause I was in, Fort Lewis, that's in Seattle. After basic training, I went there, for, to work. I was there for like 3.5 years, 4 years on my own at 17 years old. So I was lost.
Damn.
I was lost.
When you say lost, what did you mean by that?
Like mentality wise, 17-year-old by myself, haven't been on my own, just trying to maneuver friends, life, paying bills, all of those type of things, just making a lot of mistakes. So just going, those ebbs and flows of trying to find myself. Throughout that time I was there, like I made a lot of mistakes there, but I learned from those mistakes though. So if I wasn't on my own, I don't think the lessons that I learned during that time would have registered with me in life as I progressed. So yeah, it was a lot of learning on the fly when it came to like me at 17 years old being out there on my own on the West Coast, like across the map from home. No family, no friends, no nothing. Just like, hey, you're going here, so you're going here, and I just had to figure it out on my own.
Did that suit you doing that on your own, or would you have rather had been a bit more support in that sense at the time?
I would say now that I look at it, I'm glad I did it that way. But in that moment, in that time, I would have wanted support. Like I would have rather be around friends and family to figure it out along that way. But now that I look back on it, I wouldn't be who I am today if I didn't go through those experiences when I was 17 years old. So I don't regret it at all.
That's real. That's real. We'll come back to that place. You spoke about you had a twin sister. Like, what's that like having a twin? I don't have a twin, so what's that like?
It's exactly like how people say, like you feel things that they're feeling, and you do things that that's the same way they do it. So it's like we were real close growing up. We did a lot of things together. We even got into fights. Like we fought each other a lot. So we got into fights, but at the end of the day, it is that connection that you have, and the connection you can't really explain it.
Yeah.
Because it's something that's only few experience, because there's not a lot of twins out here in the world, or triplets or whatever. So it's not something that I can explain, but the connection is real when it comes to twins, whether it be fraternal or identical.
Love that. And so obviously growing up, then someone needs to ask a question. Who's older? Yourself?
She's old. I'm the youngest. I'm the youngest. She's a little older than me by a few minutes, and my older sister is 4 years older than me.
Okay, wow. And obviously yourself as well. I mean, was it tight knit between the siblings yourself? I know
we were tight. We're still tight knit. Because like I said, we lost our mom at an early age. Yeah. So we all we had at that time. So we had to be tight knit. I was the guy, so I learned how to. Like, I'm not only say be a leader, you know what I mean? At an early age, at an early age, you know what I mean? I had to protect my sisters. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like I'm the youngest, but I'm the oldest at the same time.
I get you.
You know what I mean? So I'm the only boy, so I got to protect my sisters. I got to make sure they're good. I got to make sure what they're doing is productive and conducive to what they're trying to do. The guys that they're talking to, like, they need to run through me first. You know what I mean? I need to see what they're about. That type of thing. I was doing that at an early age.
What's that like growing up and having to grow up earlier than you're supposed to? Because that's technically what you end up doing, right? You end up growing up before your time. Tell us a little bit about that as a man growing up and having to almost fill responsible shoes already. What was that like for you then?
I mean, in that moment, I didn't think about it. It was like, hey, I have to do this because it's no other man besides my uncle, of course, was around. My dad, like I said, he wasn't around. So I have to be there for them and whatever they may need. So like, I didn't think about that and that dynamic at that time. But, as I got older, I'm like, I really didn't really have like the type of like childhood, like a typical, teenager would have. You know what I mean? So it's just like, hey, you got to grow up. You got to be a man. You got to do things and make sure people are good. So that's what I did. I didn't even think about it. That's just what I had to do.
Man, that's not easy, growing up in that space and having to take that role on, especially as a black man in this world, in this society, in this generation. Growing up in that particular era and having to play that role. What were the difficulties, would you say, were, looking back now, what were some of the difficulties you were kind of facing, having to play that role?
Understanding myself and my emotions. Understanding what I needed to do in order to be the best version of myself, but also make sure my family, which is my sisters, are good. So me trying to balance that, I kind of like lost myself in making sure they were good. You know what I mean? So, and that went into like me not doing the schoolwork, me not just caring about something to release the weight. So it's like I play sports. That's the release for me. So it's like I can just release whatever I need to release during that time period. So I don't have to think heavy. I don't have to like look out for other people and make sure, hey, and be strategic about what I'm doing. Yeah, you have to do that in sports, but that was a free moment for me in my mind for me to just let loose. So that's why I think I was so involved in it like I was. Because I had a lot of things going on in my mind. Losing my mom, father wasn't around. I got to make sure my sister's up. So there's a lot of things just going on in my mind.
Never a moment to almost rest.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. Okay. I mean, and I totally understand that where you're coming from, and it makes a bit more sense for us to understand you a bit better as well. And having to grow up quicker than than a child really should do in that sense as well. And obviously, like you said, your father wasn't around. How did that impact you as well, growing up without a father in that respect? How did that impact for you, looking back now?
How impact me now or then?
I mean, sorry, looking back at that point in time, how do you think that impacted you now? If you look at it from this particular perspective, looking into that time.
Looking back in it now, I think I lost the emotional side of what I needed to be growing up as a man, like when I was a teenager, because I didn't have that father-son bond, for him to show me, what it is to be a man, how to be in charge of your emotions. Like, this is what you need to do when you encounter these things. Like, this is how you deal with girls. Like, what's going on with you in school? Are they, are they bullying you? Just having those father-son talks, playing basketball, throwing around the football, playing catch, what I'm saying? Like those type of things, like I wanted because I saw my friends' dads doing it. So I didn't do that. I had my uncle, but he was trying to make sure the household was good. He was out working and making sure, we have food on the table. So he was doing his thing and he would show me what he could, but he can't overextend himself because he has other obligations to make sure the family is good. So that was his thing. He was the provider for the family. And it was just me, my three, me, my sister, and my other sister, and then he had kids too. He had 3 kids as well at that time.
Wow, so it's not easy.
So it was 6 of us. You know what I mean? So with his wife, which is my aunt, 7. You know what I mean? So including him, so that's 8 people in the house. You know what I mean? So like I didn't have that one-on-one time like I wanted. So my release was just sports. Like I said, I keep going back to that because I know that was my release. If I didn't have that, I don't know what I would do. I don't know what would happen. I don't even know where I would be. Yeah, so that's so that when I think about my childhood, I just think about those times of like, you know, thinking of like how I felt, like that abandonment, the not having my dad, you know, like me wanting him to be there, me reaching out to him, and you know, he would promise us stuff and not come through, and you know, that type of stuff or whatever. So it definitely affected me emotionally, and it carried over into like my late 20s, early 30s. You know what I mean? So it definitely damaged me. Like, I'm not even gonna say it didn't, because it absolutely did emotionally. Because I wasn't,
That's real.
I didn't even know who I was, like, until I understood. As I got older, then it was like, hey, I got to do something about this. But then I was just wilding out, you know, in my 20s in the Army, you know, just doing different things and not caring about authority, not caring about my life, you know, just doing different things. Like, so, yeah.
Man, there's some real stuff you're spitting right now, bro. There's some real stuff you're spitting here. And I love the fact that you're also able to give us that perspective of truth, in a sense of you're able to give us a well-rounded insight. And it shows just by the way you're talking that you have considered and looked at the things that have affected you as a human being. You know what I mean? Like, that's really important as well. And I love that aspect. So for you as well, now growing up and like I said, going into the military, how did you deal with, like, because you know, military, you know, I'm assuming again, it's a very stern, you know, like, you need to do this at this time.
Right.
Do you think it was more beneficial to have that, or do you feel like it was hard to adjust to that particular style of, you know, kind of like, hey, do this at this point in time? Was it difficult for you? Or was it easier for you?
In the beginning, it was absolutely difficult. Like, in the beginning, it was difficult. Like, I got in trouble a lot, like a lot. But like, you know, as I got, you know, started conforming to like the rules and the guidelines of what is needed to be done, I was like, no, this is all I got to do. This is easy. You know, all I have to do is show up somewhere. Everything is already presented for you to where you what you have to do. All you have to do is show up, get up early in the morning, exercise, go to work, do what you need to do, and then that was it. You know what I mean? But in the beginning, when I was going through like basic training and things like that, it was absolutely rough. It was rough. I was in Oklahoma. I was in Fort Sill, Oklahoma, for basic training at AIT. I went out there for like 12 weeks. I was out there for 12 weeks. So going through that, it was really rough. Almost got into fights, like 5 fights.
Why were you getting? Why do you think you were getting these fights?
You know, people, you know, like I'm coming from the street. You know what I mean? So it's just like, you sizing me up. So what's up? What's good? Like, what you trying to do? You know what I mean? So like, that was my thing. Like, so yeah, like doing that, and they were like, hey, and I never forget it. It was he was another black guy. He was from Brooklyn. And he sat me down, and he was like, the path that you're going down is not a great path. He was like, if you want to be something and do something and change the narrative of what you say your family been through, or the dynamic of what you're in now regarding your family, you got to do different and be different. So if I didn't have that talk with him, he's passed away now. We always kept in contact, but he died 5 years ago. But from that talk, I kind of like slowly was like, okay, I need to try to do things differently. So it wasn't like an overnight thing. It was like, it always played in my mind though. Always played in my mind. And I was like, if I want something different, I got to do different. So if I don't want to go back to the street, like, I got to conform to what this is about. So I was like, okay, let me try it. Let me just do what I'm supposed to do, be more disciplined, have, you know, self-awareness to be like, hey, if I find myself getting upset or mad or whatever, walk away, you know, just try to be in control of myself. So I mastered it. Like, I just was like, hey, you need to be in control of your emotions and what you say, how you say it, you know, how you come across, those type of things during that time period. So that was like over like a 5-year period that I had to learn that. And then also finding out that I needed to do, you know, I know everybody say counseling and therapy or whatever, but I absolutely did that. But I did that in my like late 20s, like early 30s, after my divorce.
The aspect of almost like you said, because you're feeling anger at a point in time, feeling abandonment issues. Do you feel like the structure and the structure? You feel like the structure really helped kind of regulate you and kind of
Yes.
put you in the space where you could control that aspect.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, that structure. I needed that structure. I didn't know I needed it at that time, but I absolutely needed that structure, like in my life at that time, because I was a loose cannon. I would say I was a loose cannon. I was like,
I love the way you're describing yourself.
like a ticking time bomb. Like somebody do something to me wrong, but it's from 0 to like 1,000 real quick. You know what I mean? So I mean, I know that. Like I can admit that. Like I know that. So like I absolutely needed that structure to be like, bro, like you need to simmer down, man. You need to calm down. Like you're gonna be either dead or you're gonna be in jail. Like which one you trying to do? You know what I mean? So it's just like, nah, I don't want to do either. So it's like, all right, let me try this out for real and let me see how this will go. And 23 years later, retired.
Why do you think that it worked? I know that you needed a structure, but why do you think it finally worked for you? Because as much as I'm hearing you saying that the structure helped, some people don't ever learn. So why for you why did it sink in? Why do you think it sunk in for you personally?
The number one reason why is because I wanted to make my mom proud.
Okay.
That's the number one reason why, because I wanted to make my mom proud, and I know she wasn't here, and I know she's watching me. So yeah, I had issues with that and her passing. But for me, the end goal was I ultimately want to be different and do different and make her proud. That's still something that I do to this day. I put her first. I'm like, hey, what will my mom do? Or what will my mom say? Or how will my mom look at this? You know what I mean? So it's just like I look at how she would look at it sometimes in a lot of different ways. And when I go through situations. So I try to make her proud at the end of the day. So she's always at the forefront of my mind, like when I'm doing different things. So when you say structure and her was the reason why, I changed the ways that I was when I was younger.
Love that, man. And you speak quite candidly about your mom and the impact she's made in your life. I mean, maybe you can describe a little bit or take us a little bit down that journey. What's the kind of impact that your mom made in your life? Looking back now, what kind of impact did she have over you?
Yeah, she was just loving, nurturing, would do anything for us, cared for us. Like she went without so we could have. Because we didn't, of course, we wasn't rich, we wasn't wealthy, we didn't come from a lot, we didn't have a lot. So whatever she can do for us to make our Christmas, to do things for our birthdays and things like that, she did it. She scrapped to make those things happen. You know what I mean? So it's just I got my work ethic from her, like because I saw her do that. So I was like I admired that about her. When I think about her, at this time, like her work ethic is unmatched. Like she did things for us that she didn't have to. She made sure that she put a smile on our face. And she, like, even when she didn't have it, we didn't know she didn't have it, but she made it happen. Whatever we wanted, if it was within her means, she got it. So, and she was single. She was a single mom. That her and my dad wasn't married. He wasn't helping. You know what I mean? So it was just her doing it on her own. So that's why I admire her so much, because she did things to where she tried to camouflage like what was really going on with her and him, and to try to shield us from that. But when she passed, then it was at the forefront. It was like what really, was going on, the dynamic between them.
And you did say that you tried to reach out. I mean, you did try to reach out to your father as well. I mean, how did that impact you not being able? I mean, I don't know the extent if you've managed to recuperate a relationship with him at the moment, but when you were trying to reach out and stuff, and sometimes there was that disappointment. How did you manage to kind of make your way through those seasons?
I don't think I ever did. Like during that time period, I don't think I ever did. I think I was just, all right, okay, this is another disappointment. But I never like combed through those emotions and feelings. And my uncle was there, right? So he kind of like helped me navigate that, right? Because he was there. So he was that mentor for me, like the work ethic he has, making sure the family was good, showing me what it is to be a man, showing what it is to go out in the community and be a part of the community. He did all of those things. He's still doing it. So for me, if he wasn't there, if my uncle wasn't there, like I said, like I don't know where I would be at this time. Like my dad, he wasn't there, and we still don't have the greatest relationship. But I touch base every now and again. You know what I mean? Like, oh, he reaches out every now and again. But we don't have the best relationship. But I take that for what it is now, because I understand what it is. You know what I mean? So I'm 43 now, so like I'm good.
I understand. Yeah.
Yeah, I got my own son now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm good.
That's real. That's real. I mean, and obviously then, you know, going into, I guess, dating and stuff like that. I mean, what was the dating life like then? So when did you start? Because I know you said you wasn't thinking about girls when you were younger. So when did dating start?
I'm gonna tell you another fun fact about me.
Go for it.
This is an exclusive for you, Kojo.
I'm ready for it.
This is exclusive. All right. I didn't start dating or being with girls until I was 23 years old.
Okay.
So that's when I lost my virginity and all that. You know what I'm saying? At that age, you know, that's when I was in the military, you know, and all that. So I lost it at 23. So dealing with girls was like I was like awkward. You know what I mean? Because I really didn't deal with girls like that. You know what I mean? I was just focused on sports and doing whatever I just wanted to do. That wasn't my focus. So I started late. I got a late start compared to everybody else. I got a late start. So for me, it definitely was awkward and understanding my emotions when it came to a girl. You know, when it came to like understanding, do I love her? Do I like her? How do I communicate with her? You know, how do I tell her how I feel about her? Because I didn't even understand my own emotions.
That's real.
So how I'm gonna tell her how I feel about her, and I don't even understand my own emotions. So I was kind of like disconnected emotionally because I had all this other stuff going on in the background when it came to like relationships. So yeah, I definitely was disconnected. It definitely affected me like relationship wise when it came to me like, you know, being with women.
And then obviously, I mean, was your ex-wife first love, or did you have a first love before that? I always like to ask that.
I had a first love before her.
Okay.
But then that didn't work, and then that's when I met my ex.
Okay. So tell us about your first love. What was that like? What was the experience of being in love for the first time? You know, your feelings are different. You're feeling some things.
I was crazy, man. I was crazy about her. Like I was crazy because I was the first person that I connected with. You know what I'm saying? Like connecting with her on an emotional level or whatever. And she was from she's from Baltimore, you know, I'm from New York. So we connected on like, oh, we East Coast, you know, we have the same kind of like vibe, have the same kind of like rhythm with each other. You know what I mean? She understands where I'm from. I understand where she's from. The dynamic was kind of like the same with her. You know what I mean? So the emotions for me, it was different. Like when I see her, my heartbeat got chills through my body. You know what I mean? It was like I was excited to see her. You know what I mean? It was like, man, I can't wait to get off work so I can see her. Like, or it was like, hey, I can't wait to, you know, I'll like be calling her or text her or whatever and be like, hey, you know, I can't wait to see you. You know, just like that first time love type thing. You know what I mean? So we definitely went through that, and it lasted, you know, of course, until it didn't. Because when I got that whole thing out of the way of being like a virgin or whatever, it it took off from there. It was just out of control from there.
Out of control.
It was out of control from there. It was.
Wait. Obviously, without going deep. But what do you mean you went out of control? You mean you was in the streets?
Hey,
were you in the streets?
I was for the streets.
You was for the streets.
I was for the streets. For real. For real.
Why do you think that you ended up going to the streets? What was going on that you went to the streets, bro?
Man, because it was like, you know, once you get the first taste of something and it's good,
yeah,
it was like, oh man,
this is what
is what I've been missing. Oh man, I'm about to, you know what I'm saying? So it was like, it took off from there. And I was like, oh man, like relationship, what? I'm gonna do I'm gonna do me. Yeah, that's what it was.
Oh man, yeah, I definitely hear you. That makes a lot of sense. And obviously as well, like again, as you're navigating that space, you're right. As you get the first taste, you know, it can send you down those paths. And then obviously, so then, you know, going through that stage, what would you say that, okay, so while you're on the streets, what did you glean, or what did you gather? What did you learn while you were on them streets?
The streets, man, it's like if you don't know any better, you'll get sucked in the streets real quick. And it's unforgiving. You know what I mean? Like it's like it's very unforgiving out there, even in the relationship aspect or just dealing with people. It's like it's unforgiving. I mean, it hasn't changed from then to now. It's still unforgiving. But for me, I learned that I got a lot street savvy when it came to relationships and dealing with people, or dealing with women. You know what I mean? Like I got a lot of knowledge during that how women move, what they really mean when they say this. You know what I mean? If they really trying to be in a relationship or they just want a friends with benefits type of situation. You know, all of those different things. They just telling you what you want to hear so they can keep you, on the sideline and keep you, as that guy like, hey, I just want you to come through sometimes. I don't want you to be the main guy. I just want you to come through sometimes. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I learned all of that. You know what I mean? I learned a lot of things about sex. Because I didn't know anything about sex. I didn't know nothing about sex. Like I saw it, my people, they had pornos and stuff like that. But I didn't know about. I didn't have actually do it. So, during that time, I was just learning. I was just experimenting. I was doing everything. So I learned a lot, physically when it came to sex, and I learned a lot, when it came to emotional intelligence about myself and what I wanted. So as I was going through those type of things, I learned what I liked, what I didn't like, what I wanted in a woman, when it came to, not only emotionally, but of course, sexually or whatever, of course, because I didn't know anything. So it was like, do I really like this? Yeah, I think I like that. Or like, that type of thing. So it definitely was eye-opening for me, just navigating after not doing it and doing it for a long, not doing it and then actually just jumping out there and doing it. I definitely learned a lot, and my emotions was all over the place when it came to like, you get that first piece, you think you in love. You know what I mean? It's like, oh man,
deep.
She gonna be my wife. Like,
I'm gonna marry this one.
Yeah, exactly.
I never gonna leave.
You don't know the difference. You don't know. Like, so it's like, oh man, like she did this. Like, so it was just going through this, managing all that. Like, no, you can't say that you in love. Then you just it's not that. It's just lust. It's just you just excited about doing something physically with her. You know what I mean? So just understanding all of that stuff. And I learned all this on my own. I learned all this stuff on my own. So nobody knew I was going through all this stuff, but I had to learn all this on my own.
That makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. Obviously, then after first love, after streets. Okay. After that section happened of your life, you then looking to get into marriage. For you, get into a stage where you were going to marry someone. How do you feel like you got to that stage for you then? What was some of the indications that were kind of making sense for you at the time that said, you know what, I think I'm ready to marry?
What was making sense to me at that time was like, I thought, because I'm gonna say thought, I thought I was ready to be with one woman.
Okay.
I thought that she was the one for me at that moment in time. But understanding where I messed up at is I didn't do the work myself.
Okay.
As far as understanding who I was and how I show up and how I love and how I communicate, and how I receive love, like understanding all of those things, I didn't understand it at that time. So me jumping into a marriage with her, because she's an amazing woman. But for me at that time, I wasn't an amazing guy. You know what I mean? So it was like, I didn't understand myself at that time. So how am I going to be married and with someone saying that I'm your husband and not even understanding what a husband is supposed to be? Like, I didn't even understand what a husband was supposed to be. So, because I didn't come from that dynamic in my family. So it was like, hey, I'm learning all these things on the fly. So the only marriage that I had to look at was, of course, my aunt and uncle. But that's just one out of many. So that's the only dynamic that I'd look at. It's like, okay, who's married? And it was that. So me just not understanding me and who I was and how to be emotionally intelligent, how I communicate with her, how, I show up for her, how I support her, how I love her, all of those things, I was failing. So, and I was detached from her emotionally because I had a lot of things still going on in the background that I didn't address yet. So I had all of these things going on. So that marriage failed because I ultimately cheated on her, and it it didn't work, as I mentioned on the show.
Before we get to that kind of aspect, I'm really intrigued to kind of find out, especially because I do identify with you on this point. The emotionally avoidant, if we talk about attachment, it's attachment style, the avoidant attachment style, which is to be independent and also some form guarded as well, right? To hold yourself, not hold yourself, but you're used to doing things on your own, that it becomes difficult to let someone in and share the vulnerabilities and stuff like that. Was that easy for you, or was that difficult for you in the marriage to be able to share more vulnerable side of yourself with your partner?
It was definitely difficult. That was one of the biggest things with her. It was like, how do you love me? Like, I wasn't loving her how she wanted to be loved. So it was hard for her to understand, why am I being so detached? Why am I not being vulnerable with her and telling her how I feel about her? And why am I not communicating with her and on what's wrong?
Yeah.
Because I didn't know what was wrong. I mean, I knew, but I didn't. I knew, but I didn't know. You know what I mean? So I couldn't explain something that I wasn't aware of. So for her, that was the biggest thing for her, when it came to me and her, the dynamic between me and her.
Yeah, I mean, and looking back at that, I mean, again, I'll like I said, I think this is something I really identify with. It's that difficulty of being able to, like you said, being aware but not being fully conscious of the actions. Even myself, I remember when I was dating a particular girl, I remember I could see myself getting to a point where I just distanced myself. I wanted to separate at points in time, not separate to go anywhere, but like I needed that space to do me, right? And you know what I mean? But it's like you said, I wasn't aware that this was, I call it a violent act. It's almost like it's a passively aggressive move, right? In the sense of like, I wanted to get away. I didn't want to leave the relationship or anything. I just wanted to get away and have that space for myself.
Right.
But then that was making the person feel alienated, uncared for, and making them feel like they weren't being loved. But it's not that I wasn't trying to love you. It's just the fact that in my head, I needed that. That's what was comfortable for me, to kind of push you away a little bit so I can get that space. You know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense for you in a sense.
It does. That's absolutely what I was doing. Because I was definitely distant. I was distant, like real distant when it came to emotionally with her. I was there physically, like coming home every day and things like that. But emotionally and in my mind, I was like somewhere else. And I can, and I understand that. I get that. You know what I mean? Now, but I wasn't going through it. Like, I'm here, like I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. So you fighting it, and you're like, nah, I'm here. Like I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, not acknowledging like what's really going on. So that's what I was doing at the time, just not acknowledging what really was going on with me.
What for you do you feel like triggered the wanting to create the space? You know what I mean? Like there was something that triggered me. So I'm wondering if there was the same for you, or it just kind of naturally happened. Was there a trigger that kind of an event that happened that kind of made that trigger and take off the avoidant and kind of separation?
I'm gonna tell you exactly what happened. Nobody knows. This is another exclusive, Coach. You don't have to pay me for this stuff, Coach. My dad reached out to me while I was married.
Oh.
He reached out to me while I was married. He called me. It was for Thanksgiving. He called me. I was at home with my ex-wife at the time. He called me. He was like, "Hey, son, I'm gonna come through and see you," because he was passing through. He was going from New York down to South Carolina, and I was stationed at Fort Bragg at the time, which is in North Carolina. So he called me. He was like, "Hey, I'm gonna come and see you. I'm gonna stop by and see you for a few days. Mind if I?" I'm like, "Yeah, you can stay with me. I bought a house. Me and my wife, we was in the house. So I was like, "Yeah, you come stay with me. You can stay in my man cave or whatever upstairs. Whole man cave. The whole floor is for you." He was like, "All right, cool. I'm coming." So, and I got off the phone. I remember it like it was yesterday. I got off the phone and I got excited. I talked to my ex-wife about it. She was like, "Oh, he's coming?" I was like, "Yeah." He said he's coming. So I was like, "Oh," I was like, "Bet we got to do this. We got to get this. We got to cook a good dinner. All of those things, right?" So, long story short, no show. So that's where it put me back in a space to where it was like, yo, like, why would he do that? Because we haven't even talked. We haven't even, he got my number from my sister. So he reached out to me and said, "Hey, I'm coming to see you," and then not show up. So that was like, I was like, wow, like really? And my ex-wife knew I was hurt, but I tried to play it off. I was like, no, I'm good. I'm good. You know what I'm saying? No, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? No, I'm straight, but I really wasn't. You know what I mean? So, and that was when I'm a grown man. You know what I mean? I was like, but it was like that little child came back and was like, oh, my dad gonna come and see me. But then when he didn't show, it was like, man, like really? And then my wife looking at me like, man, I know he's disappointed. I know he's hurt. Or whatever. She trying to console me.
But there's nothing.
But it's like, it's nothing that you can do. Like, it's like, I'm disappointed, but on the exterior, I'm like, nah, I'm good. I'm good. But I really wasn't in the inside. So that was the trigger for me. Yeah. See, I'm real self-aware, Kojo. I'm real.
Oh no, we can see that. We can see that. You don't have to even say that. You, by the way you're speaking, I thought you were self-aware. I said this on the review. I said it from the way that you spoke about the cheating and said obviously when you had to find out the why. I said you were definitely self-aware from that moment because only people who have gone through the work know how to say why did I cheat. That's a very specific terminology that people use when they've gone through the work. So I knew that. I mean, and I'm definitely hearing what you're saying. And honestly, as soon as you said the situation with the father, I just knew that that's gonna spiral brother out, man. I don't think people really deep how traumatic that can be, especially for us as men. You know what I mean? Like needing that father figure, around you just to and to have that moment. I know maybe people might not appreciate it. Is a huge thing to experience that, especially if you were just focused on just doing your thing and
I was
going your way,
Yeah, I was, because we hadn't talked in years. So it was like, hey, I'm doing my own thing. I'm married now, I'm doing my own thing. And then you pop up out of nowhere. I'm like, okay, bet. Okay, he wants to come see me. Call me. We chop it up for a few. We talked. Everything was good. And he was like, yeah, I'm gonna come and see you. Gave him my address. I was like, yeah, I stay here. I was like, yeah, just come on. Just call me when you're on your way. And I'll be at home. Waiting or whatever. We can go play basketball because he plays basketball. So he played basketball overseas and stuff like that. So it was like, okay, we can go play basketball. No, we can chill out. Have that time that I thought then missed out on my childhood. And then, now he reaches out, no show. So that just brought me all the way back to, back then. So it just was downhill from there.
Wow. That's a steep slope that's now gone down. So then for you, I mean, you don't have to share this point deeply or anything like that, but what then makes the brother go to step out then, for you? Like you said, you understood the why. So maybe not going too much. I don't want you to expose too much, but I'm saying what then was the why then that it got you to that space where you ended up stepping out?
Because I didn't care. I didn't care about nothing at that time.
Another ones. Yeah.
I didn't care. It was like, I don't care. When you're in a space, I was in a space to where I don't care who I hurt in the process of me getting the pleasure that I want. So during that time, I wanted some pleasure. So it was like, I don't care if she found out. If she found out, I don't care. It's whatever. That's where I was at. So for me, it was just about me. I was selfish. I was just worried about what I wanted, how I wanted it, what made me happy, and all of that. And that definitely wasn't the right answer. But that's the space that I was in at that time.
So do you feel like the trigger sent you down that pathway to a point where you went numb?
I was emotionally numb. Like when that like I was already there. I was already like kind of like emotionally like cut off. But then that happened. It was like all the weight after that. It was like all the weight after that. It was like I didn't care what happened to me. I didn't care who I hurt in that process or who I damaged. Or I didn't care. It was just about what I wanted. I didn't care about anything else. It was strictly about what I wanted.
That's real. And I appreciate you sharing that and telling the truth, because I think a lot of people can't actually tell you why they're cheating. When you said it on the show, I said if someone can't tell you why, I would never trust that person because they ain't done the work. They have not done the work, and you're a dangerous person. You'll do it again. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So what, like, for you, how did you get to that space where you actually found out the why, and why? How come you went to a space where you had to go and kind of do the work on the situation? What prompted that?
Because after I got a divorce, of course, because I told you, like, I cheated, and I was already emotionally checked out of it. So she was like, I'm not, like, I tried with you, like, you continue to hurt me or whatever. So it was like, I'm done or whatever. So it was like, all right, got the divorce. And after that, when I got the divorce, because I think that's when it kind of like started to slowly set in. It was like, what are you doing? Like what's, you just got a divorce, right? This is not something like to be proud of. Like that's not like a trophy to have a divorce. So for me, it like slowly started to be like, and then the relationships that I would have, I didn't even want a relationship with nobody. I would just like have like friends with benefits type things. Like I didn't even want a relationship. So it was like, is this the path that I'm gonna go down for the rest of my life? Or I want to change it and potentially be somebody's husband. So a couple of years, it was like 3 to 4 years after I was divorced, for me to come to that aha moment, to be like, bro, you can't be out here in the streets like this. Like this is not it. Like this is not what you're trying to do. Then I already have my son. So it was just like, why? This is the example that you want to set for him. You doing the same thing that your dad did. You know what I mean? You doing, like, you may not be doing it all the way, but you're not setting a good example for your son. If you just want to be in the streets, or you want to get divorces, and you don't want to take care of the woman that you say that you're supposed to protect and provide for and profess your love for. So my son played a big part in me maneuvering and moving towards finding what it was that was triggering me at that time, to say, hey, you need to understand what you got going on in your mind, unpack that, dealing with your mom, dealing with your childhood, dealing with the abandonment, deal with all of that stuff. And then you can see if you're ready for a relationship after you do that. So that's why I wasn't in a relationship for like 10, 11 years.
Wow.
Yeah, I wasn't there. It was just like strictly like friends with like benefits. It wasn't no relationships. It was just like, no, I can't be in a relationship. I'm no good. Like I'm no good. So I'm already damaging people out here, by just caring about myself. So why would I want to continue that along? So I just no relationship. If you want to deal with me, you can. But
this is the capacity I'm given.
Right.
That's real.
So yeah.
That's real. No, I totally get that. And was for you then, was the process difficult, like in going through that? So I saw someone's comment, it's too much.
What happened was I don't even have to check.
No, someone said blow your someone said you were blowing back out. Yeah, I tried to be professional, but they got me, man. Was it like the journey of obviously learning to kind of speak this new language of being aware that these things have impacted you, through, like you said, therapy and stuff like that. Right. How difficult was it to kind of go through that process?
I was like shut off when I remember the first visit I had, to the very first visit. It was like a sparring session in there. It was like a back and forth. It was like we was in a boxing ring. Like it was like, nope, she throw a jab, I move, I throw a jab back. Like it was like a sparring session in there. She was like, it took the fourth week for her to be like, if you really want to be better, you have to just let this guard down, unpack everything. If you need to cry, if you need to curl up on the couch, you need to put your thumb in your mouth and act like you're a baby to unpack whatever you need to unpack, you need to do that. So I would never forget, I was driving home. I'll never forget, I was driving home and I got home and I sat down on the couch and I told myself, I said, next week, because we did it weekly, every Friday. So I said, next week when I go in there, I think I'm gonna just tell her everything. So I told myself that. And then I went back and forth on it throughout the next 6 days. I was like, no. I was like, no. I was like, and I was like, yeah, I need to. Like, if I want to, I need to. So I went, that whole roller coaster. And then she did an icebreaker when I got there that Friday. she did an icebreaker. She was like, tell me what you like to do. I was like, I like to write. Back then I used to write poetry to myself a lot.
Love that.
So I used to write poetry to myself a lot. I was like, I go play basketball by myself. I just, like to clear my mind. I ride my motorcycle, things like that. So she was like, when you ride your motorcycle, what do you think about? That question right there. I didn't know what she was doing at that time. So that question right there, when she said, when you ride your motorcycle and you're just enjoying it and you're just focusing on the ride, the road, and you're just enjoying the breeze, what do you think about? And then right then and there, I didn't know in that moment that I would unleash at that time, but I did. And I just told her everything about my mom, about my dad, about how I grew. Like, I told her everything. And I started crying. Like, as I was saying it, like, I just like unleashed, like, I cried for like, I say like about 6 or 7 minutes straight. And she was just like, this is what I like to see. And then we just started talking. Ever since then, we just started talking. Every week, we just unpack. And then, I use it as a crutch for the months, the upcoming months, because I was comfortable with just telling her, how I was feeling and, my emotions and things like that. So I used her as a crutch. I'm not even gonna lie, I did. I use it as a crutch.
That's real though.
Because I didn't want to express it to nobody else.
Yes, yeah. Not
right.
Nobody no chance to hurt me.
Right. So, until I did that, then I really, really like let myself go. So be like, hey, you can express yourself now to other people. Instead of your psychiatrist. Like, oh, okay, now I know that I'm moving and I'm taking the steps to where I need to be in order to understand myself and move forward.
Do you know what's really interesting? That you're sharing that, and I hope the audience is paying attention. I can tell you've done the work, and I'll tell you why I can tell, because you're able to talk about it. The difficulty of a lot of us, especially as men, is that when we haven't worked through it, speaking about it becomes really problematic.
Right.
Because we're thinking about so many different lenses of how to say something, because it might look bad on us. Or he might be thinking about this, or he might be thinking, let me protect the family because I don't want anyone to think I'm being rude or anything like that. But until you actually get it out and start talking, like you said, not only to the therapist, but actually then you're able to share that with other people,
right,
and exposing that vulnerability to other people, you can tell when people are not comfortable with sharing that aspect of them. Do you know what I mean? So when you're sharing what you're sharing, I'm really appreciating the fact you are sharing that, but we can actually see that there is work that has been done, because you're able to share those pieces of yourself without it becoming a higgy story and running me around the mill.
Hey, no wasted motion.
No wasted motion. You already know this, cuz. No wasted motion. So, you know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, so obviously once you would start working through that and you started, being able to express that, what was that feeling like when you was able to finally just kind of, and I'm not even about the therapist, I'm talking about when you could tell someone else finally what was on your mind, what was in your heart. What was that like? Tell me about how that was like.
Man, how I'm gonna give you how you sitting in front of the water and you looking at the water and it's just you out there, the breeze is blowing good, the sound of the water is soothing, and you're just sitting there and you're just in a relaxed state and you're just enjoying the view and the sounds of nature and the water. That's how it was for me when I told someone how I felt about that. So it was just like a refreshing moment that I didn't have ever when it came to emotions and relationships. Yeah. So when I told her hey, I really care about you. I love you. It was like I'm good. That's when I knew oh, I'm good. I'm good. I can really, get out here and express myself. I'm vulnerable. Yeah. I'm straight.
I'm straight.
Yeah, I'm good. But that's how I felt. I was like, oh man, I'm good. That's how I felt.
I love that as well, because I think for us as men, it's a difficult thing, especially if, like we were saying, I like I said, identify with the emotional avoidant aspects in terms of, and when you finally get to that place where you're able to express yourself freely, it's a glorious day, man. It's a glorious moment, and from then on outwards, you seek to make sure that you can be able to do that within measure, of course. But you're able to share those parts of yourself, because then it allows you to actually then connect with people on a different level. You know what I mean? You have different types of conversation now, because you're able to identify certain things, and then actually makes you aware how difficult it is for other people.
Right.
You know what I
Yep.
mean?
Yep. Definitely.
Have you
Definitely.
experienced that yourself?
Yeah. It definitely made me look at other people and was like, oh, you really can express yourself. Right. You really can. Oh, okay. I see. Okay. I see. You know what I mean? So it made me very aware of, you know what I'm saying, people that can't really express themselves or communicate in a way to where like, yo, you're not really saying how you feel. You talking surface. You just talking, nah, I need to know your feelings. You know what I mean? Like, tell me your feelings. And a lot of people can't, you know, they can't do that because they really don't understand.
This is it. Yeah. So then what takes you on to Ready to Love?
What brought me to Ready to Love?
Yeah, because you know the audience want to know why you want to Ready to Love, because you're obviously you're already getting women out there. So
yeah, that like getting a woman wasn't a problem. Not an issue. Like that was not a problem at all. Don't get that twisted. It wasn't a problem.
Oh, we know.
No, like a casting director reached out to me.
Okay.
I guess they saw my profile and was like, hey, yeah, you will be a good look, you know what I mean, for the show. Are you single? Like, what's your dating history? You know, all of that, you know what I mean? They reached out. I ignored it for the first 3 weeks.
Why did everyone do that? Everyone ignores the first.
Like, you know, you think it's like spam or something. You think it's like spam.
Give me your bank account deals.
Yeah, like, nah, I didn't. And they kept reaching out. So I was like, why is this? So I was like, yo, like, why are you? And it was like, no, I'm really a casting director for RTL. We're really interested in you. We would think you would be a good look for the show. We're coming to the DC area. So I was like, so it was like, so can we call you? I was like, absolutely not. I'm not giving you my number. So,
I don't know you like that.
Yeah, I don't even know you like that. So they called me on Instagram. So they was like, hey, can we have a quick phone call on Instagram? I was like, you know what? Go for it. All right, go ahead. So he called me, and he was like, hey, I just want to give you my credentials. I just want you to know that I'm for real. You can look me up, go to LinkedIn. You can do all these things. I was like, okay. And I was like, so why are you looking at me? He was like, hey, you know, I just saw you. You know, I wanted to, of course, get to know you, but I just saw your profile, and I think you definitely would fit one of the guys that needs to be on the show. You think we would be a good look for the show, be a good look for you. So I was like, okay, let me think about it. And he was like, okay, well, while you think about it, I'm going to put you in contact with somebody in Baltimore. I don't know if she want me to call her name, but I'll just say somebody in Baltimore. Somebody in Baltimore, which is a casting director out of Baltimore. So I was like, called my aunt. She's like she's like the person that my sounding board.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, she tells me the real. Like, this is what it is, this is what it's not. So I called her. I was like, hey, would this be a good look if I was to do this? She was like, you single? Why not? So I was like, no. I say, I'm a reserve, behind the scenes. I lay low. Like, I'm not trying to be out there like that. She was like, what do you have to lose? I was like, nothing really, but that's not my style. That's not what I do. She was just like, just think it over. I think you should do it. But I'm gonna let you make the ultimate decision, which you are. But I think you should do it because it's allowing you to do something different, so you can probably get different results. So I was like, that's true, but I'll think about it. So it took me another 2 weeks to even think about it. So after those 2 weeks, they reached out like 3 or 4 more times. So I finally reached out to the casting director in Baltimore, and she was like, I was waiting on you. I was like, oh, really? So I reached out to her, and she, put me in contact with all of the interviews and the things I needed to do, the background checks, the psychiatrist, and all of those different things, and did an interview with the network, and they was like, yes, we want you to be on the show, and waited for the confirmation email. They was like, stand by, whether you get selected or not. We're gonna send you an email. Just stand by, be on the lookout for it. So got the email. They was like, hey, congratulations, you're going to be a part of the show, and the date is this day. We'll stand by for more details. So I was like, all right, cool, bet.
Yeah.
I
love that. Okay, so then obviously you get on to Ready to Love. You arrive at the scene, the mixer. I know it's a hot day as well for you guys. It was scorching hot. Who's the first person that catches your eye? Who's the first person that catches your eye? Someone that just you look at you like, ooh, that's hot.
The first person to catch my eye was Joy.
Mm.
Joy, the dress was popping, the color was popping. You know what I mean? Her hair, I liked her hairstyle. So she was the very first person. Like I had other women that, of course, was in the in the mansion. You know, when I got there, but who caught my eye at that time first was Joy.
Love that. Okay, Joy caught your eye. And then who was the first person you had like a who's the first person you had a good conversation with, at a mixer? Who was the first one you had a good conversation with a mixer?
It was Sabrina. It was Sabrina. Because we didn't talk. I don't know if she said we didn't get to talk to like the end.
Oh, okay.
Like we didn't really get to talk to like towards the end of the mansion mixer, because she was every time I looked, she was with somebody. Every time she looked, I was with somebody. So we never really got to talk till the end. But the conversation that we did have, we started like deep, from day one. We started deep. So that conversation that I had with her, that was the best conversation I had that day, because it was like a deep conversation. We talked about our background, being married, what she wanted to do in the future, her moving back to Cali. Was I cool with it? Like we talked about a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? When you just getting to know somebody, we talked about a lot. So that would be the conversation that with her that really caught my interest.
Is that the usual style that kind of intrigues you, having that ability to go deep, conversation like that?
Yes, because I don't want somebody that's on the surface. Like I don't like surface level stuff. Like I can talk about the weather, I can talk about your favorite color, I can talk about all of that stuff, right? But I want someone that's going to stimulate my mind. I want to be able to stimulate their mind. Like I want to be able to like go through your mind, go through those emotions of your mind. You do the same for me. You stimulate me mentally, everything else will follow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For me, like everybody's not like that. For me, of course, I want you to be beautiful, of course, on the exterior. But stimulate my mind, everything else will follow. So I'm an in-depth thinker. I'm a forward thinker. I'm an analyzer. That's me. That's who I am. I'm not going to run from that. I'm not ashamed of that. That's who I am. So for her to do that with me in that moment, I was like, oh, okay, cool. I like this. Like, so it was like from that point forward, I had my eye on her from that point forward.
Makes sense. Makes absolute sense. So then obviously, progressing forward, you had connections with, Precious, it seems, or it was seemingly a connection there.
When I first came in, she was the person the person that grabbed me, right?
Yes, she did grab you.
She grabbed me and we had a talk.
She picked
I was like, she was dope. Like her personality was dope as hell. I'm not even gonna front. Like she was like, yo, you sexy, come over here and talk to me. Like I was like, cool. Like is
that a bit too much for you? Do you feel that's a bit too much for you? A little bit too much on the first go?
Nah, I wouldn't say it was too much on the first go. I'm not gonna say that, because I was like, oh, okay, she's forward. Okay, bet. Like I kind of liked it. You know what I mean? So we had that conversation and she was like, are you gonna do, dancing with? I'm like, yeah, you know what I mean? So yeah, I don't have no issue with that. You know what I mean? So but after that conversation, we went on a date. That was she was the first date that I went on.
Oh, okay. How did that date go? Describe the date for us. How did it go?
It wasn't good. No, I'm not saying anything like bad.
No. I just
no, it wasn't good, because it was like a back and forth type thing. It was like I was trying to ask her, what does she want? Does she want a husband? Like, what does that look like for her? What does that dynamic look like? And things like that. And she will circle back to, the social aspect. She was like, well, why do you like, are you social? Do you go out for drinks like during the week? Because I was telling her, I was in school while I was filming. I was in school. So I was telling her that I'm currently in school getting my second master's or whatever. So I'm just like, hey, I'm in school. I work. I'm trying to start my own consulting business. I was doing a lot of things while I was filming. So I was telling her that, hey, these are the things that I'm doing. This is what I'm trying to do. So do you want a husband? Like, what does that look like? Like, I'm trying to talk about other stuff, because for me, going out, being social, that's the easy part. I'm looking at something way deeper than that. You know what I mean? So that's where the disconnect was on our date. You know what I mean? When it came to me and her date. That's what the disconnect was. I was trying to talk about wife, husband, and she was like, "Hey, are you going to, do you like to do this or do you like to do that?" I was like, I'm not really, in my mind, I'm like, I'm not really on that right now. Like, I'm really trying to find a wife right now. Like, I'm trying to see what you like as a wife. Like, what's that dynamic like? What do you like as far as like your husband? What traits and attributes do you want your husband to have? If you're talking about getting married and things like that, do you want kids? And, I'm talking about that stuff. You know what I mean? I'm not talking about that other stuff. Like, because that's easy. To me, that's easy. Yeah, that's easy. And we have a short amount of time.
Yeah.
To really dig deep and get to know someone. So I'm like, yo, I'm coming in like, hey, what's the future look like for you? That's what I'm trying to talk about. So, and that's why you see me and Sabrina on the matching mixer. That's the stuff that we was talking about. So that's why the date didn't work out with me and Precious. And it was, of course, it was downhill from there.
So, she obviously felt hurt by the party girl label. Do you care to just give us a bit more insight into this party girl label that she was labeled as?
Number one, this is what I want to say.
Yes, sir.
I have no control over eliminating someone out of that show. If Demetrius says something, I don't have the authority or power to eliminate somebody just because I say something. Now, when they asked me about the date, I say she cared about her social status, her social setting, and things like that. I'm not on that. I'm worrying about what you're trying to do as a wife. I'm worrying about what you're trying to do in those things. Not saying that she doesn't have that in her mind. I'm just saying my interaction with her in that time was about that. That's just my experience. So when I'm talking about my experience, I'm talking about my experience. The other guys, and I ain't gonna put nobody out there or whatever the case may be, but I'm just gonna say that the party girl thing, I never said party girl. I said she likes to be social. I never said party girl, even though technically it kind of means like the same thing, kind of, if you semantics, whatever.
Yeah.
But I never called her a party girl. I said she likes to be social. So, and you saw me tell her that in the episode at the beach house.
Yeah.
I said that to her face. I didn't hide that. I said, if you like to be social, that's great, but that's not for me. I never said that off camera to where she didn't know how I felt. I said it on camera to her face.
Yeah.
So that's my experience with her. And it's okay. Everybody's not for me, and I'm not for everybody. So I understood that. Everybody wasn't feeling me on the show. Everybody don't feel me if I'm trying to talk to a woman. That's just life. But I don't understand like the dynamic where she was trying to paint, or the picture she was trying to paint, to where because of Demetrius, I left the show. It wasn't because of me, because it was other guys.
Was there a general consensus of the same thing? Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. I didn't like what I said on the reunion. I said I can't be the only one to eliminate you. If I say Precious, that doesn't mean you're going home. It has to be other men that are not feeling how you're maneuvering or moving and things like that. I mean, come on, like, let's not try to play the blame game. I understand that you felt some type of way, which is okay. That's fine. But let's not try to say it was because of me that she went home. That's not true.
I hear you on that. How did you feel about, I don't know how you might have felt about it in the moment, but maybe when you watch it back, Precious makes a comment when she's with you on the date, double date or triple date, whichever, or you're doing the high ropes. And after she says, she wants to prove herself to you. And, I want to get your thoughts on that comment that she made. She pretty much said she wants to prove herself to you. How did you take that comment, and what was your viewpoint when she said those words? I don't know if you remember that.
I felt as if she was trying to, because she was up for elimination like a couple days before that. Like, so when AP got eliminated, she was up for elimination. She was in the bottom two. So for me, in that moment, because I said it on the episode, I was like, I think it's kind of like damage control. You know what I'm saying? I already felt some type of way about you. Now you're like, hey, let me clean this up. You know what I mean? Because he feels this type of way about me. You know what I mean? And I said, I was like, it's kind of like damage control. But in that moment, I told her when she said that, and you can go back. I said, you don't have to do that. I told her that. When she said that, I said, you don't have to do that. She was like, no, I want to. I'm like, no, you don't have to do that. I told her, like, you don't have to do that. No, I'm not nobody to where you have to prove yourself. I'm not that. You don't have to prove yourself to me. My thoughts and my interpretation of who you are, whatever, that don't stop nothing for you. You know what I mean? So I don't want you to go out of your way to try to prove something to me. No, absolutely not. No, you don't have to do that. So I left it at that. And then, you know, when we got to her next elimination, she got eliminated. And then that's when the whole Demetrius, because of Demetrius. Like, nah, it wasn't just because of Demetrius. And I'm not gonna like put all the stuff, you know, because that's between us. Yeah. But it's the way that Demetrius can eliminate one person. I don't have the power to eliminate Precious. I don't.
I understand. Reunion, it went from 0 to 1,000 very, very quickly. Talk to us a little bit about that. How did we get to that point in time, and what is Demetrius not going to do?
Did you say what Demetrius not going to do? Nah. Number one, she was on 1,000 the whole time. So we're sitting there like throughout these other things, and she's like on A's, like on 1,000. So I was like, yo, she's like amped. So, you know, it comes to our segment, right? I'm sitting there chilling. I'm like, they showed a clip. They showed a beach house clip where I say, if you want to be social, that's fine. You can do that. Like, but that's just not for me. So I guess that made her feel some type of way. You know what I mean? Because that whole party girl thing. You know, so it made her feel some type of way, or she came in already feeling some type of way. I don't know. She could only answer that question. So when she saw that, that's when she went off. She was just like, you insulted my character. You're saying that's who I am. Oh, I was like, I said, you're not for me. I didn't say anything about who you definitively are as a person and anything like that. I just said, you're not for me. And I said that. I said, hey, look, I said that. I said, she's not for me. Me, meaning Demetrius. Not any other guys or anybody else out here in the world. I just say she's not for me. I'm being very direct in what I'm saying to you. So she took that and saying, you're not, and she was arguing back and forth. So I was like, yo, what you're not going to do is talk to me like you crazy. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to go back and forth with a woman because I don't argue. I'm not going to go back and forth with a woman. I'm not going to argue with you. You know, I'm not going to do that. She was calling me out my name, doing all those things. I'm like, and I let it rock for like 5 minutes. They was there.
5 minutes, wait. So there was a whole lot of...
It was a whole thing. I let it go. I was just sitting there. I was just like, I'm not going to say nothing. 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 In my mind, I was like, I'm just going to let her do whatever she want to do. But then when she started calling me to, you know, a B and all those different things, I'm like, yo, like come on now. Like you tripping right now. You know what I mean? Like you really tripping. Like I didn't call you out your name. I didn't do any of that. You know what I'm saying? She got triggered, by me telling her what I'm not going to do. And I'm talking down to her. No, you talking crazy and reckless. You know what I'm saying? To me. Like, I'm not saying anything like that to you. So why are you disrespecting me? The disrespect is just one way right now. And that's coming from you to me. Like, if I can respect you and have a cordial conversation, then let's do that. And that's what I said. I was like, if we're going to talk, let's talk. If we're going to have a conversation, let's have a conversation. But all this back and forth, I'm not going to do that with you. So that took it to a whole nother level, to where it was like, yo, like you tripping. Like I had to ask a question. I saw it. Like, hey, you know, are you high? Are you drunk? Whatever. Like, yeah, I answered that question. Because it wasn't like I was trying to be like spiteful or anything like that, because it was out of the norm for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I never seen her act like that all day. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, yo, why you trip? Like, what's going on with you? Like, you all right? So I was really like asking her that question. And then she called me out my name again. You know what I mean? And stormed off or whatever. So I'm just like, I sat there. Like, I don't think I disrespected her in any way. You know what I mean? And if I did, I could be, someone would be like, yo, I disrespected her. I didn't call her name. If I would have done what she did to me, to her, then it would have been a different story.
I agree.
You know what I mean? It would have been a whole different story. You know what I'm saying? But I sat there and I took it. I was like, you know what? I'm going to take it. It's cool. I can take it. And I sat there and I took it. But if it was vice versa, then it would have been a whole different story. The respect has to go both ways and not just one. You know, you can't ask a man to respect a woman if a woman is not going to respect the man.
I agree.
You know what I mean? It has to be both ways. So I let it. I let it rock for a while before I even said anything. And everybody else that was there can attest to that.
Why do you think she was so amped for you though?
Because the whole narrative that she tried to spin to where it's like Demetrius was the one that sent me home. Demetrius was the one that started the rumor about her being a party girl. Like, I don't have to do that. Actions speak louder than words, right? And I'm gonna just leave that right there. Actions speak louder than words. So how you move and how you do things, people are going to pay attention to. So that's what it was.
Okay. No, I tell you, I don't disagree with that particular point and perspective. From what we saw on the show, she was very rah-rah, as they say, and I get why it came to a point it did in that particular regard. So I ain't gonna trip on that. You know what I mean?
I just think that. And then she said I called her a party girl, right? And she said I insulted her character. She called somebody else a narcissist. So is she a doctor to tell somebody that they're a narcissist? Is that not being a hypocrite? You said I can't insult your character or speak on your character by saying that you're a party girl, because I never said party girl. I said she likes to be social, but we'll take that. And then you turn around and you call somebody a narcissist. So, I mean, I'm just saying, like, come on, man. Come on, for
real. Okay.
If I'm lying, tell me if I'm not making sense.
I didn't say you're not making any sense.
I'm just saying.
Some water, because my throat was dry there. You just tickled it a little bit. You know what I mean? I ain't no beef for that. I'm hearing you. I'm hearing you.
I'm saying. I'm just keeping it all the way 100, all the way real. Like, if you say I insulted your character and I can't do that and things like that, cool. You don't have to deal with me. But then you turn right around during the season and at the reunion and call somebody a narcissist. Is that not speaking on somebody's character? I'm just saying. I think I'm a logical guy. I try to think sensibly. I think.
Hey, I'm with you. I'm not even going to deny it. So I'm with you, bro. You couldn't win that. I'm just gonna be honest with you. If you went back and forth for that, they would have been getting your ass in the thing. Do you know what I mean?
Right. So that's why I said I took it. I didn't want to disrespect my family and the women in my family by doing something disrespectful to her. And I don't want to disrespect women. I have a son. Like, how am I going to tell my son to not disrespect women and to treat women a certain type of way? And I do that something complete opposite than what I'm telling him. So I kept it cool. Like, I kept it cool. It's like, okay, got it. You got it. I just left it at that.
Yeah, I appreciate you. You're making sense. I agree with you 100%. I didn't have a different opinion when it actually aired. So, you know what I mean? I just want to get your opinion on it. I didn't have a different opinion. If you're going to come at me like that, just know that I'm probably going to say 1 or 2 words. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I'm not gonna get onto that. Okay, cool. So then, but then you had another situation. I'm really intrigued about this.
Another situation?
You had a bang situation. I need to know exactly what happened. Okay, the bang situation. We need to know details of what happened and how we got there, sir. Why is she doing bang to you?
I don't think she did bang to me.
Oh no, sir. She said bang to you. She put it in in the confidential part, the little part where they do the little solo part. She said, "I got it, bang." So you got to tell the truth now, sir. Tell us what happened.
No. What the thing was, and I'm not gonna say everything that happened. Right? It was a disconnect between me and Joy at that time, right? Because of other reasons. It wasn't anything dealing with me. Or anything dealing with, I ain't saying not dealing with her, But it was just a disconnect. It was some misinformation that was told to her, and she felt, you know, some type of way about it. And you know, and then we had that, you know, that interaction at the, you know, at the dates where I was like, hey, you know, the guys feel that, you know, you need to open up more and talk to the other guys instead of, you know, Clifton. Everybody knew she was with Clifton. Everybody knows that. That didn't stop me and her from, you know, continuing to talk. We didn't talk after that. It was like a couple days, but after that, she apologized and we continued to move forward. You know what I mean?
So
like for her, Joy is like, you get everything in one with Joy. She's like a friend. She like with Clifton, like I interact with her, like I really interact with her. So with Clifton, she's like with me, from what I noticed, was she's a friend and then somebody that you can be with. You know, so you get like the best of both worlds. You know what I'm saying? Like when somebody says like a homie loving friend, that's Joy. You know what I mean? And she's gonna ride for you. Like if you with her, she gonna ride for you. That's what you want in your corner. You know what I'm saying? So you don't want anything other than that. Like I don't think nobody wants somebody that's not gonna ride for them heavy. And that's how she is. And that's why I respect her so much, because what she believes in and how she is as a person, I want that around me, because I want somebody to go hard for me like that. You know what I'm saying? Like I want somebody to go hard for me like that. So that's why I respect her in that way, because I want somebody to go hard for me like that.
So did she bang or not at that moment? Because she asked you whether you're ready for love here, my friend.
She did, but like I said, if she asked me that because it was some information, I don't want to say it. You know what I'm saying? Like I'll let her say it if she wants to say it. But it was some information where someone told her that I was trying to, like, you know, talk to them when I haven't talked to them during the whole season.
Okay, so who did you not talk to the whole season? Who did you not talk to the whole season?
I'm not gonna put that out there like that. Like, I'll let her. I'll let her tell that, you know, story.
No, but wait. I mean, this thing, but it concerns you though. So it's like who's saying that you didn't?
Right, but it's not my story to tell. You know what I mean? Because that's her story to tell, not mine. You know what I mean? When I say it's her story to tell, this information was given to her.
Yeah, but then it was given to you.
Like later, though.
Yeah. So I mean, but okay. Yeah, but the thing concerns you. It's even though the person got told that, it concerns you.
Right.
Yeah, they said it about you. You know what I'm saying? That would give us a bit more context in terms of what actually happened. Because now,
I told you the context of it. The context wasn't that I haven't talked to somebody during the whole season, and then we had an interaction, and it was like, oh, he's trying to circle back and talk to me. That's what the context of it was. And her mind was like, hey, I thought she was here for love. I thought she was like you, because me and Joy was talking at that time. We was talking like every day or every other day. Me and her was communicating.
As
like
friends or?
Yeah, I mean, everybody at that time, I already knew she was with Clifton.
Okay.
So I would talk to her and let her know, like, hey, you know, how's everything going? She would check on me. You know, that's how Joy is. She's gonna check on you, make sure you're good. She's gonna reach out. We're gonna banter back and forth. We're gonna talk about things that she likes. That's how we work. So at that time, I had reached out to her. I think it was like the day before, or one of those days before the actual date that we had. And she never responded to the text message. And I knew something was wrong, right? Because she never did that. Like if I would text her, she'll text back. Call her, she's gonna pick up. Because that's who Joy is. So when she didn't respond, I automatically knew something was wrong. But I didn't know what it was. So we go into the deliberation, and they say, hey, she's at the you know, one of the bottom two. And they was like, Demetrius, we want you to go on a date with Joy and tell her. I'm like, my first date with Joy, you want my first date with her to tell her this? I was asking to go on a date with Joy. Y'all never gave me it then. But you want to give me the date to tell her that she's in the bottom two as my first date with her. I'm like, that don't even make sense. So they was like, no, we need you to do it. So I was like, all right, cool. So get to the date, fast forward. She came in, you know, upset, angry, or whatever about the situation, which I didn't know at that time. You know what I mean? She had to drive from Baltimore down to where we was at, you know, in traffic, you know, so she was already frustrated. So that on top of whatever the information that she was told, you know, all that stuff played a part in it. You know what I mean? Because she got at the last minute, you know, she was like, hey, they contacted her at the last minute saying, we need you to go on a date here and be here at this time. So all that stuff played a part in it.
Okay.
So we get there, you know, and I could tell she's irritated, you know, give her a hug, like, hey, you know, how was your day and stuff like that. And then we just started talking, you know, about, you know, the whole situation which y'all saw on TV. About, and then she was like, hey, you're not ready for love, why are you here? Those things. But that didn't come from a malice place though. You know, I don't think it came from a malice place.
You didn't think it came from a you didn't think it came from?
Absolutely not. No. I don't think it came from a malice place because now that I know the situation, it didn't come from a malice place because she really was, me and Joy talked. So she knew in her mind, she was like, I know he's here for love. So when she got the information, it was like, what? Oh, he playing a game. So he really not here for love. So her asking me that question was a valid question in that moment. But I didn't know what the information that she had got from somebody at that time.
Bro, are you telling me? No. Real spit.
It was a valid question.
No, it's a valid question. But watching it back, tone and energy. If Precious had asked you that question, would you have been saying that's a valid question? In that same tone and energy?
I don't get upset over a lot of small stuff.
No. Well, you're human, so I understand you're gonna get. If Precious asked you in the exact same way, would you have given her the same blah you're giving Joy right now? That's what I'm trying to say. I'm not
giving Joy like right now.
Yeah, because you're giving Joy a pass. You're saying it wasn't as
I'm not giving her a pass. I know the reason why. I'm not giving her a in that moment. If you're asking me in that moment, did I give her a pass? Absolutely not. No.
So okay, that's what I'm asking. So she banged in that moment. Okay, yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. In that moment, no, hell, I didn't.
Okay.
But days later, I think it was like 3 or 4 days later, we went. It was at the getaway.
Okay.
They didn't show it, but as soon as I walked in the getaway, and she saw me, she was like, "Hey, Demetrius, we gotta talk." I don't know why they didn't show it, but she was like, hey, Demetrius, we got to talk. So me and her went over to the corner by ourselves, and she was like, Demetrius, I respect you. Like, I was dead wrong for what I did. It came from a place where I thought somebody was, you know, being real and honest and telling me about something that happened, but it didn't come from a good place. So she apologized. And she was like, look, I look at you. I know you're here for love. Like, I know who you are. And I'm sorry that I let that moment determine how I felt about you, you know, when this person told me this. So she let that moment, like it, you know, it clouded her judgment a little bit when it came to me. And that happens. She's human. So all I'm saying is in that moment, when it happened, absolutely not. I ain't giving no pass for that. Absolutely not. I was pissed. I was like, why is she talking to me like that? Like, what's going on? And then after that, when we actually like saw each other for the first time after that, which was like 2 or 3 days later at the getaway, we had that conversation. So I was like, okay, now I get it. Okay, got it.
But and why? Okay. So, but if I'm your boy, if I'm your boy, and I get some information, which is not about me and you beefing, it's got nothing to do with me and you beefing. You're my boy, and it's about me, and the information has come to me about you concerning someone else in the process. There is no way I'm coming with the energy that Joy just came with to ask you this question. It makes no sense to me because I'm not that concerned enough to get that riled up to ask you in the tone that the tone that is, especially if I'm trying to figure out, bro, I heard some information. I'm gonna come like, bro, I heard some information, bro. Like, yo, you might be effing up. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. You might be effing up because I'm hearing that you ain't you've been out here doing this and that. You sure you really, hey, bro, you sure you really here for the love thing? That's how I would approach it. The energy she had seems like it was beyond just that information that came about, which is why I'm saying it doesn't make sense.
But that's what I'm saying. It's other factors that played a part in it, like the whole being in contact at the last minute, getting it. Like, it's other factors that played into that, though. Like, you just trying to just like box it in, so like it's just that situation, but it's other factors that played into that, which she probably knew, because when you go on that date, you know whether you're in the bottom two. You know. So if it's like the men are having the deliberation today and you're going on a date, so you know you're probably in the bottom two if you're going on a date. So it's all those things contributing to what you saw on the screen. Just like you saw with the other people when they was on that date and they got eliminated. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's no different, but it was other things including that situation, that made it look like she had some energy towards me. And it wasn't just directly towards me. It was other things that contributed to that.
Okay, that does line up with what I kind of said about the situation. Even if it's not directly about you, you got the brunt of it.
Right. And I can say, yeah, exactly. I'll say, yeah, I took that. And then, but that when she realized what happened, she automatically apologized to me. Like, everybody's not going to apologize for what they do, especially if they feel like they ain't do nothing wrong. You know what I mean? So she apologized to me, and I understood. Once we sat down and we talked about it, I understood exactly where she was coming from. So I was like, if I would have got that, I would have looked at you differently as well. Because if I'm thinking of you one way, and then I get this from somebody else, I'm like, are you really here for, like, so yes, that question would be like, as you saw with other people. So that dynamic, yes, it wasn't right in that moment. And I definitely felt some way about it. I was pissed off. I absolutely was. Absolutely. Like, I told myself I wasn't even going to talk to her no more. You know what I mean? But then when she saw me at the getaway, it was like, we talked like adults. We talked, and it was like, hey, this is what it was. I ain't mean no malice. Like, you know, I rock with you. You know, I care about you. You know, I want the best for you. Like, that's how she is. Like, like I said, you rock with her, she gonna rock with you.
I agree that point. I'm not. I don't disagree that point at all. I'm just. I think we're trying to decipher where the energy is coming from, because then if it's not about you if it's about all those little things, you know, it sounds like her back was against the wall. She knew she was about to be eliminated, and that's the joy that came out at that moment. And unfortunately, you got the shotgun in the end. You know what I mean? But then she had time to relax and go into a confession booth and do bang bang. So now I have to look at it and go, so you had time to go into confession booth and chill down and think about it, and you still do bang bang. That's why I'm like, I'm really confused by it, because I get what you're saying. In the moment, all right, cool. In the moment, you know what? Maybe you triggered, but then you went into a confession booth, which I'm guessing is not necessarily the same day. You guys do this on different days, don't you? You don't necessarily do it all on the same day, but you go into a different day, and it's like bang bang. So I'm not saying that she's a bad person. What I'm saying is that don't make sense, because you have a whole different day and you still come in and you're doing bang bang. That, for me, is like, I would be questioning it and be like, okay, the first part, all right, you in a moment, but then after, you want to do bang bang as well. And so that's what I'm like, okay, so that then if Precious is getting energy she's getting from you, I'm expecting.
Wait. What energy is Precious getting from you?
Oh, you ain't trying to deal with Precious at all. You was
right. Like, we had a date. And
I'm not saying you liked her. I'm just saying you.
Yeah, I didn't deal with her. Like, we had a date. Like, we had that date early in the season. Me and Precious. Do you understand
where Precious is also coming from? That she's only a human.
Right. That's what I took it. That's what I'm saying. I took it.
No, but I'm saying after, do you generally just put it as, I understand where Precious is coming from, she's only a human?
In what aspect?
The same way you put it in Joy's aspect, that you understand where she's coming from because she's only human in that moment in time and stuff.
I can absolutely understand where Precious is coming from by saying that she's being labeled something, right? Okay. Especially if she's if she's not like that, right? If she feels that she's not like that. But I'm putting it in a sense to where the Precious thing and how she disrespected me, that's a whole nother level. Okay. Than what me and Joy and sat down and we talked. That's a whole nother level of, like, the disrespect. Whole nother level. So the me and Joy thing, to me, that's minor. I've had things worse happen to me. That's minor to me. You know, so if we can sit down and we can talk about it, I'm good with that. Like, me and her are good. You know what I mean? As far as that time when we talked about it, it was done then. Like, it was done. It was over with. Like, when we talked about it.
Sorry, apologies. No problem.
No, I'm saying when we talked about it and she apologized, because it was a sincere apology. Like, we sat eye to eye, and it was like we were close to each other, eye to eye. And I wish they would have showed it so y'all would be like, okay, got it. Like, damn, like, this is the type of person that Joy is. She approached me and said, hey, we got to talk. We were sitting eye to eye, face to face, and she literally told me how she felt in that moment, and how she sincerely felt when she did it, because she called people after she did it and said, when I see him, I have to apologize to him because that wasn't right. She acknowledged it. Like, she acknowledged it with other people, but y'all don't see all of those things. You just see what you see on the screen. You know what I'm saying? Because people called me and was, hey, Joy reached out to me and she really wants to talk to you face to face. She's not going to apologize to you on the phone. She wants to talk to you face to face. So I was like, I don't know if I want to do that, but I was like, I'm open to it. So when she saw me, soon as she saw me, that's what she did. I got it. You can't do nothing but respect that.
That's cool. I ain't gonna be for that.
Yeah, you can't do nothing but respect. But it's a lot of things that, you know, you saw on the screen, that confrontation and things like that. Yeah, you see that, but it's a lot of things that happen that's not on the camera.
No, I get that. I think I was pushing because when you started the story, you started off in a defend Joy position, and I was like, bro,
no, it wasn't a defend Joy position.
It felt like that. Do you know what I mean? Because I was like, wait, she banged you, bro. Like, I'm not saying that you don't become friends after. I'm saying, but the way that you told the story was like you almost like you were straight away almost in the space of, I totally understand where she's coming from. I'm like, bro, she banged you, like,
right.
You know what I mean? That's why I was saying it that way.
Yeah. In that moment, like I said, yeah, you was looking for in that moment was I pissed.
Yeah, I think that's what
absolutely. I was on 1,000. I was absolutely pissed in that moment. She knows that. I was absolutely pissed. I think I went into deliberation, like the next deliberation, and I was like, I don't even want, like, Joy, she's at the bottom.
That makes sense.
I said that, but they didn't. That's what I'm saying. Y'all don't see that because that's actually what happened.
But how did she become your number two?
Huh?
But she was your number two, innit?
Before that.
Before that situation happened.
Right. Before that situation.
Okay.
It was Sabrina and then Joy at that time. But then when that situation happened, I was like, oh, Joy's at the bottom. And
did she ever return to number two?
She became a real close friend. So I didn't see her romantically no more. Her and Clifton was rocking like way hard at that time.
So which one came first? Was it the Clifton, her rocking hard, or was it the beef that happened before she came number two, before she vacated number two position?
Well, when she vacated number two position was after the argument that we had. That's when she vacated the number two position.
So it was a big thing for you then. That was a big thing for you then. Because even after the apology,
I was pissed.
You still couldn't put it back on two.
Say again?
I said even after the apology, you still couldn't put it back on number two.
Because by that time, I already knew her and Clifton was already locked in.
Okay, so in those few days.
So why would I put her at number two if her and Clifton are locked in? That don't make sense?
Okay, so are you saying that in those days that you weren't speaking, that you found that they had locked in?
Right. They was like really locked in with it. They was locked in from day one, but like I still had her in my two because I was like, yo, me and Joy talked. We talked. They didn't even show when we talked at the Mansion Mixer. Me and Joy talked. So she was my number two all the way up until we got into that argument. And then after that argument, I was like, nope, Joy, she's not my number two no more.
Mm-hmm. That's fair enough. That's cool.
I'm keeping it all the way 100.
Oh no, I know you are. That's the thing. That's why I'm pushing you a bit more. You are keeping 100. I don't think you're lying or anything like that. I think you're keeping it 100.
Yeah.
You had also a connection with Carmen.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't get to see that. Talk to us about this connection with Carmen. What is that?
Me and Carmen, like, we connected at the beach house. Okay. We connected at the beach house, the pool party. It was the pool party bonfire. That was the same day. So we connected there. I didn't really talk to her throughout that day because I talked to Sabrina and I was just like mingling and just talking to different people. I was talking to Dakia. I was just talking to different people. So me and her didn't talk really during that day, but for like 2 minutes when we was walking towards the house. So later on that night, it was me and Paul. Me and Paul actually started talking to her at the same time at the bonfire. It was Paul, me, Paul, her, then me. Like we was standing beside each other. And we were just talking. We was just going back and forth. Like, I'm just now seeing you. Just talking back and forth. We was cracking jokes. Paul was cracking jokes. I was cracking jokes. She was cracking jokes. So I grabbed her phone. I grabbed her phone. And I was like, you're not getting this phone back until I'm able to put my number in your phone. So she was like, "Give my phone back." I was like, "No, you're not gonna get it back." So later on, as we continue to talk, they wanted me to do a speech. So the speech that y'all saw, me at the bonfire, that was the time I had met, was actually talking to Carmen. So I still had her phone at the time. So I had her phone. So later on that night after the speech, I put my number on her phone because everybody was leaving, about to go. She left, everybody left, dispersed, and I checked on a couple of people to make sure they got home. So she was one of the people that I checked to make sure they had got home because it was late. It was like 2:00 in the morning when we left. So I was like, let me just check on a few people, some of the ladies, and make sure they got home safe. So I did that, and she was one of the ones that, I checked on and made sure they got safe. So after that, we started talking, and then we would talk, and we would talk about like some deep stuff. And then she was on the same thing that I was on about, waking up and doing those daily affirmations in the morning, sending those messages to me about like the affirmations about, motivation and life and things like that. She was on the same thing I was on. She's a, prior Air Force. Yeah. I was in the Army, what I'm saying? So we had things in common, you know what I mean? So that whole connection formed, that because we would talk every day. She would check on me, even if it was something small. She'd be like, "Hey, Demetrius, how you doing? You doing all right? How was your day?" That type thing. So I was like, "Damn, okay." She's checking up on me. So we just connected like that because we were talking, and we would talk about life. It wasn't even about us trying to hook up. It was about life. You know what I mean? So we just bonded like that. So it grew from that point. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's how the connection formed with Carmen, but it was off camera because we didn't have a date. So we did go on a date before the getaway, but that was never shown. So during the getaway, the first whole day, I was talking to Carmen the whole day. During the getaway, I was talking to her. And then the second day, I was talking to Sabrina. Because the first day, Sabrina was with Donovan. So I was like, well, I guess we're gonna chop it up and talk, or whatever the case may be, or whatever. So all right, cool. So we just chopped it up and talked throughout that day. She was talking to Paul and everybody else too. But majority of that day I was talking to, Carmen amongst like Joy and different people, other people that were there. So that connection formed, naturally off camera. You know what I mean? Which they should have shown that date before the getaway. Then y'all would have seen like, oh, they got some sort of connection. But they didn't show that. She went to my friend's date that they didn't show. And it was her and Tina that was on my friend's date. I didn't just have one date with Sabrina on my friend's date. It was Carmen and Tina as well. But they didn't show that.
They just showed the Sabrina one.
They just showed the Sabrina one, yeah. But they didn't show that one. So you all would have got the context, you know what I'm saying? It was like they would have shown things that happened, but you all didn't get the context because there's certain things that they just didn't show.
So it was a good connection between yourself and Carmen. It obviously clearly wasn't as strong as the Sabrina connection, but
really me and Carmen really like we naturally progressed into being good friends. You know what I'm saying? Like at the first it was like, let me see if I can explore this romantically, right? And then it naturally progressed into us just becoming friends because we will always talk about life stuff, what we're trying to do, achieving our goals. Like that's what we would talk about. It wasn't like I'm trying to get with you or I think you're sexy or nah. It was just about like life stuff. Like we was talk about life, like my son, her son, and things like that. And that built the foundation of a connection with her.
And was this at the same time? So this at the same time as Donovan and her connection as well. So you're still
all that's at the same. Yeah, all that's at the same time. Yeah.
Wow. So wait. So I mean, I don't know. Maybe you can share a bit of light on this. When castmates say connection, I'm always like, because what you kind of mentioned there, I guess is a connection, but it's not a ready to love connection. It is.
It wasn't a love. It wasn't a love
connection.
I was definitely interested in Carmen.
Okay.
But it never escalated to like romantic. If that makes sense. Like it never escalated to like romantic in that way because she had other connections. I had other connections. Like
so technically it wasn't a connection. Technically it's not a connection.
I wouldn't say it's not a connection because we did connect. I wouldn't say it's not a connection.
in really to love terms, it's not really a connection. Like it's not really a connection. Like I
A
get
deep connection like I had with Sabrina, no.
yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Like there's got to be some, you want to, you know what I mean? Friends is friends, and I get that, and we
But
have
it
friendship.
got there. It got there because of like my way or what I wanted with Sabrina and what her and Donovan had. So that's where it kind of like stopped there. It didn't escalate into like, yo, like I'm trying to take you home, and it didn't escalate.
Why not? Because Donovan had no problem connecting with both of them in that particular way. Why not? Why didn't you connect with both of them that way?
Because I was honest with Carmen. I was honest with Carmen and Tina of what I wanted to do.
Oh.
I was honest with them and say, hey, my top person or who I can see myself leaving with is Sabrina. I told both of her and Tina that. Like I was never leaving nobody in the dark about what I was thinking or how I was moving or what I was. Nah, it was like, hey, you're interested in me, I'm interested in you, but my top connection is Sabrina. So we can see what happens between us. That's what it was. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. So obviously, your connection with then obviously after Carmen, your connection with Tina. What actually happened there? Because she kind of put you a little bit on blast. What happened? With the Tina situation. She thought you was a player.
Put me on blast. What you mean?
Yeah, I mean by when she said you was a little bit she thought you was a player, but then she apologized and said she got some.
That came from the ladies in the lounge saying all the ladies liking me. So that came from like, oh, why are all of the ladies liking you? Like you got to be telling them all the same thing, or you got to be sweet talking them. Like, that's where she was coming from, because she didn't know me. She didn't know me. I saw her like a glimpse at the pool, and I didn't talk to her. So at the pool party, so she didn't talk to me until that time. So that's why she probably had the misinterpretation of like, I think he's a player because all these ladies are saying how fine he is or how he carries himself and this, that, and the third. So it was like, why? Like, is he a player? So that's how she came in when we went on that date. So and I was like, yo, I'm not a player. I'm just a person that's direct, and I tell you what I want from the beginning, and either you like it or you don't. You know what I mean? So it's like, if you want somebody that's going to be direct with you and tell you what they want and how they feel and how they want to move forward, that's me. But if you want somebody to like go and say all these other things and do all this other stuff, then and go with the flow type, that's not who I am.
That's real.
So I'm very direct in telling a woman what I want. If I want a wife, I'm gonna say it. Like, hey, I want a wife. Like I told all of the women on the show, I was like, I want a wife. So if you don't want to do that, then I think this is like, we don't need to even talk, because I want a wife at the end of the day. So
obviously, Paul obviously kind of let us know that she had said some things about yourself. Did you get that? Did that come back to you?
Yeah, she had called me people be throwing this narcissist word around a lot.
Narcissist, Lucifer. I mean, you was getting old, to be honest, bro. You was in hell, basically, bro.
Yeah, like narcissist and devil, and like, I don't know why people be throwing these words around. Like, I guess those are like the catchwords for 2022.
It definitely is.
So yeah, she called me all those things because it reminded her of her ex. You know what I mean? Like so that's what I guess she said. I reminded her of her ex. So that's why I got labeled
those terms. Did you speak to her after that? Did you speak to her after that when she labeled you
that? Yeah. I talked to her after that. I talked to her after that, and she was like, hey, she didn't mean it in a negative way. She was like, it's just the things that you're saying, that you've done the work and you made sure that you're good in your whole now. My ex told me that same thing, but he wasn't. So it was just the past was trickling into her present. So she didn't really get rid of the past in order to deal with somebody like me.
And for you as well, was there a connection between yourself and Tina? Was there ever a connection?
Yeah, I thought she was dope. Yeah, like she's a beautiful woman. She was dope. Me and Tina actually was like, we went on the most dates. Me and Tina went on the most dates on people that I dated during the season. Me and her went on the most dates. So we definitely had a connection, but it just was like things was happening, and different things as y'all, you know, saw how everything played out. It was like, that's not.
The streets want to know, did you talk to the baby?
Say what? Say what?
The streets want to know, did you talk to the baby?
Did I talk to the baby? Yes, yes, I did.
What they say, Google Gaga? What they say?
I mean, I'm not gonna talk about her, you know, her child. But yes, all I'm gonna say is yes, I talked to the baby.
Okay, so you weren't the only one.
Yeah,
all right,
kids cool. Don't. Yeah, kids. I don't. Yeah.
I understand. Okay, cool. So then, obviously, your connection with Sabrina. Let's get onto that now. Your connection with Sabrina. All right, that was number one. That's who you had at the top. Where does this go wrong? Where does this all go wrong?
Where does it go wrong? I think me and Sabrina, we didn't have a, what's the word I'm looking for? We didn't have a rhythm between us. You know what I'm saying? When it came to the show, we had we knew. Well, I knew. Because I want to speak for me. I knew what I wanted, right? And it was like, okay, when I saw her day one and we talked or whatever, and when we continued to talk throughout the season, it was like, yeah, like I could see myself leaving with Sabrina. And as you all see on the actual pool party, I actually pulled her to the side, and I was like, hey, you know, I can see myself leaving here, you know, with you. I told her that. It's on the episode. I told her, like, I can see myself leaving with you. I can see myself building something with you outside in the, you know, outside in the real world. So I told her that, so she knew, you know, exactly what it is that I wanted, because I didn't tell nobody else that. I didn't talk to nobody else like that. So for me, I knew that, but I wanted her to know like what I wanted, because I didn't tell her anything like that until then. So I think where it went wrong is it was a lot of other factors that played in there, right? I can't say that like the pinpoint, like the one thing, because it wasn't just one thing. That where it went wrong, it was just a combination of different things on how it went wrong. It was like the Tory situation, you know what I'm saying? It was like how that her and Tory dynamic was playing out.
How did that look like from your perspective? How did you view that Tory and Sabrina situation? I know how I felt about it, but how did you feel about it?
I knew Tory definitely wanted to be with her. He wanted to be with her. Sabrina knew that. Sabrina knew that he wanted to be with her.
So you could see that. You could see that, right?
Absolutely, yes. Yeah, I mean, anybody could see that.
I want to make sure.
Yeah. So I knew she had other connections. So me knowing that she had other connections, okay, Demetrius, you got to make sure that you're protected. You got to make sure that you're the person that, you know, that doesn't ultimately get hurt, because this is not something that you just can dive into and say, I'm all in, because I'm dating Tina and I'm talking to Carmen and doing these other things, and she's doing the same thing. So it's just like, okay, how do I protect myself and still let her know that I'm trying to, you know, leave and actually do something for real outside of the show. So it's just, for me, I didn't have a good balance in doing that part. You know what I'm saying? And showing her what she needed, because I could take accountability for that. You know what I'm saying? That I didn't show her from her standpoint of what I needed. But also with that, she didn't show me that she wanted to ultimately rock with me like that.
Tell me more about that. When you mean she didn't show you? Mm-hmm.
She didn't show me, like, it would be, Demetrius, you're my Demetrius, like you're my number one, like you saw on the Friends Day. She said, Demetrius, you're my number one. But I knew that she had Tory and she had Donovan. And then Donovan came in late. So it was just like, for me, and this is my way of thinking, and this is just my perspective. If you feeling me and you like me and you can see yourself being with me, or you want to try to do something outside of this and build towards that, how is somebody going to come in mid-season and change that? You know what I'm saying? When me and you was building from the beginning. You know what I'm saying? And talking from the beginning. So I pay attention. I never told her that, but I pay attention to stuff like that.
You're saying that her energy shifted. You're saying that her energy
shifted. shifted to was like, oh, Donovan came in. Now you're putting your focus here.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And he came in mid-season. Tori was there, and I was there first, right? So it was just like, now you see like a shiny new toy, and it's like, oh, you want to go over here and test the waters. And I know she can do that because it's a part of the show. I know that. But if Tori or me or whoever was at the, like, hey, I'm really trying to see what's up with this. I don't want you to go anywhere. So I'm gonna also put this time and effort into continuing to build this, but I'm gonna still check this out over here. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like those things that we lost, the balance of balancing like all of those different dynamics of, dating different people and stuff like that during the show.
Let me throw a wild question, just a wild one. You can say yes or no.
Yeah.
Maybe I can throw this in two ways. You used the word earlier on, and I totally understand because I think I told you I'd play the game. If I wasn't ready to love, everybody's getting hurt. I'm gonna be honest with you. No one's coming out unscathed. I'm just gonna be honest with you because you're not gonna do me rough. But you used the words protected. You had to almost protect yourself,
right? Yeah.
And that's my first question. Is that protection because of how you saw her move?
Yes.
Or was that protection because you didn't want to get hurt in the first place? Like, you know what I mean? Or was it a combination of both? Talk to us a little bit about what's that? Because you were protective.
No, it wasn't about the hurt part. It wasn't about the hurt part because you're going to take a risk regardless. If you're on the show or off the show, if you be with somebody, it's always going to be a risk. So it's not about the hurt part. Like that's nothing to me. Like I've acknowledged that when we talked about earlier about my childhood and doing all that stuff. It wasn't about the hurt part. It was about I saw things when it was like how she was moving as far as like, and how she moves is how she moves. But I just saw things for me. I had to be like, Demetrius, you need to stay alert for that. You know what I'm saying? Because if
what did you see, sir? What did you see?
No, I just saw her not being indecisive, like the indecisiveness. You know what I'm saying? Like the indecisiveness and saying, well, I'm gonna go through the process. I gotta go through the process. I gotta go through the process. I gotta go through the process. It's like, you know what I'm saying? For me, I'm like, does it take this long for you to figure out whether you want to be with somebody or not? You know what I mean? So like throughout this process, yeah, people are different. But for me, if you're coming in with the intention of actually finding somebody, you know what I'm saying? Like you're going to find that person and then you're going to be like, I know I got him or her, but I know I have to date other people, but I'm definitely going to lock in with him or her because I know that's the person that I want to, be.
So obviously the curveball of Donovan coming in kind of thrown you off slightly in terms of seeing her energy shift and move. Okay. Was there anything else that she was doing that was making you feel like this person might not necessarily, because obviously was there anything else specifically that she kind of did that you made you go, nah, I gotta watch you, aside obviously her kind of feeling Donovan.
I mean, I know you want me to say that she's a game player. That's what you want me to say.
No, I don't even want to say this gameplay. I'm wondering why you are being. I wonder why you said, because you explained it a little bit, but I'm saying when you say protected, like that's a very strong word, and then also as well, you then saying obviously you've seen her kind of shift and change with Donovan. I'm just kind of looking for a bit more specifics in terms of what you saw, because you observe very well, right. Very well. You take your time, you observe it, you detail it, you put it down, and then you say, this, I observed this as being this. So I'm trying to get that detail. I'm trying to get inside that little black book that you got in your mind of what you actually, observed in those moments.
No, it's just observed like when we were around each other. I can say never. When we were around each other is when we were all in the dynamic of the group settings. I did play that. I'm not gonna lie. Let me acknowledge just the cat and mouse thing, right? Where it's like, I want you to acknowledge me, and then I'm gonna acknowledge you, or I'll be like, I'll acknowledge you first. Like I did play that. I'm not even gonna. I did.
Why did you play that game?
Because it's an environment to where you have to see where somebody is at. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to see what somebody is trying to do or how they're moving. Like this is not a typical environment. I wouldn't see somebody date somebody in front of me. I wouldn't see somebody flirting or doing whatever they're doing, going out to dinner and doing all those things in front of me. That's not typical. So I have to see where you're at in order to say, okay, she's rocking with me or she's not rocking with me. You know what I'm saying? I have to see that. So I did do that. Like, I definitely can acknowledge that. I did that. But for her, the biggest thing with me and her was the indecisiveness. I never asked her where she was at throughout the whole entire season, but one time. I asked her right before the getaway. And I asked her, I said, hey, I told her, I said, hey, I'm leaning towards choosing you. Right before the getaway, I told her that. And then she was like, well, and she said, well, just because that's your choice doesn't make it my choice. I have to continue on with the process. And I was like, all right, cool. I'm just letting you know where I'm at. You know what I'm saying? What I'm leaning towards. So, and then we go into the getaway, you know, what happened in the getaway. And then it was the whole, and I know you're going to bring it up, the whole Donovan kiss thing. You know what I'm saying? It was just like, that just affirmed what I was already thinking. You know what I'm saying? I was already thinking that. Like, because I could tell when people energy change. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wasn't around her and Donovan when they were dating and going on dates. No. But I know your rhythm. I know what you do. You know what I mean? And I know when I'm around you, I know your actions. Like, you know what I'm saying? I see how you move. I may not say anything, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm seeing how you're moving in those environments. You know what I mean? So it's just like, for me, I was just, you know, understanding who she was. And she probably was trying to figure out. I don't know. You know what I mean? But for me, I was like, I know where I was at. And I know she can't make a decision when I make a decision. But it's just like, if you know what you want, it's nothing going to deter you from, you know, what you want.
Okay, no, that makes sense. I'm definitely here on that. So, you know, obviously, like you said earlier on, you said obviously day one you spent time with Carmen, day two you spent time with Sabrina. I want to know, in day two, did you sense a rhythm change again? And if you did, what was it that you were seeing?
I did sense a rhythm change in Sabrina. She was leaning more towards me. Because she was being more, you know, flirty. We were like hugged up on the couch, you know, we were talking about different things. And then we was at the dinner table. She fixed my plate, you know, food. She was like, hey, I want to sit by you. Like, then she asked if I wanted to get in the hot tub, you know, things like that. So I was like, listen, okay. I was like, okay. So I'm guessing she's moving towards saying, hey, Demetrius, I think you're going to be my guy. You know, that's what I'm thinking in my head. You know what I mean? So it's just like, hey, because she's doing it in front of everybody. So I'm just like, okay, she's making her choice. I told her where I'm at. Carmen knows who's my number one choice. Tina's not there. So that's what it is. You know what I mean? So everybody knows where Demetrius stands. You know, they know. So for her, it was like, hey, I guess she was making a choice at that time. So we got in the hot tub. And then what threw me off, when we were in the hot tub, Clifton had said, hey, you know, y'all in the hot tub or whatever, like, and he was telling Joy for them to nurture their connection. And then Joy was like, you know, you might as well kiss Demetrius or whatever the case may be. Y'all already kissed anyway. And what caught me was she said, no, I'll kiss him on the cheek because I still have another connection. That's what threw me off.
Hold on a minute. Say that part again.
When we were in the hot tub, and Joy and Clifton, they were doing their thing. That they're already together at that time. So me and Sabrina was in the hot tub. If you go back, and Joy was like, "Hey, you kiss Demetrius." We were talking about taking trips together. We were just talking about life. And then Joy was like, "You might as well kiss Demetrius." What y'all talking about over there? I was like, "Hey, she talking spicy to me or whatever."
Yeah, I remember this part.
So in that moment, Joy was like, "Well, you might as well kiss him or whatever." And Sabrina was like, "No, I still have another connection." So I was just like, and then she kissed me on the cheek. So I was like, wait.
But had you guys kissed before?
You saw it, the truth or dare.
Oh, okay.
Like, yeah.
So I had to make sure. You hadn't kissed in between that for that time though. You hadn't
No.
Okay. So from the truth or dare, and then
we haven't. Okay,
so that would kiss there, and then But she had said she's not going to kiss anybody in front. She's not going to kiss you in front of anybody.
Ooh, no, she said that I'm not going to kiss him because she's like, I'm going to take my time because I have another connection.
Ooh.
That's what she said. And I paid attention to that. So I was just like, wait, so you still trying to see what's going on with somebody else and you're showing me this, but you're saying this. So that's where I was like, that doesn't add up to me. You know what I mean? So, and then after that, you know, and that's when Donovan tells me about the kiss. You know, after the getaway. So now all this stuff is playing, you know, playing around. Like I was correct on what I was thinking. You know what I mean? So I was like, what I was thinking was she was feeling Donovan probably a little more than me at one time or whatever, and exploring that or whatever, like, which is fine. But transparency is what I always wanted and what we talked about. And I told her if I was to do something, she would know. Like if I kissed somebody or whatever, the only person I kissed was her. Like I didn't kiss nobody. I didn't have any intimate moments or whatever. No, it was just her. So for me, when it came to that kiss, it was the lack of transparency and the honesty for me. Because if you're dating someone openly and you know that's part of the show, why would you tell me? Because that tells me that if we were in an environment to where it's just me and you wouldn't tell me. Because you got more to lose at that time than you have to lose now. So in my mind, that's how it played out to me. Because Donovan tells me this. It should be easy to tell me that you kiss somebody now. It should be easy. Because
are you talking about so when Donovan tells you, when you go to ask, do you go to ask her after you do Donovan? Does she tell you straight away what she did? Or
yeah. She called me because I didn't talk to her like for I think it was like a day or something like that after he had told me. And then what was going through my mind is, like I just said, it should be easy for you to tell me if you're kissing or whatever somebody, because we're not together. So you should want me to hear it from you instead of me getting it from somebody else. You know what I mean? So in my mind, I'm a forward thinker. So forward thinking, I'm like, if you don't tell me this now and we're not together and you don't have anything to lose with me, when we're together, you definitely not going to tell me because you got more to lose at that time. So that's what I'm thinking. So in that moment, I was like, okay, yeah, why? Like, I don't understand why you didn't tell me. And we had that conversation, and I tell her why you didn't tell me. I don't care what pact that you had with Donovan. I don't care about none of that. Like I'm not dating Donovan. I'm dating you. You're dating Donovan. I'm not dating Donovan. So I expect things to come from you and not someone else. So whatever you want to do with somebody else, that's fine. But don't have me walking in something blind and me get slapped. You know what I mean? With something, from somebody else. I should have heard that from you. And that was my whole thing. It wasn't about the kiss. You're going to kiss. You're going to do things. People do, like, you're going to do that.
I agree.
But don't have somebody else tell me and you don't. That was the biggest thing with me and her when it came to, like, I got to be able to trust you. Like, how that look with me getting that information from somebody else? You know what I mean? I should be getting that from you. I wouldn't have nobody tell you that, oh, Demetrius kissed me or what. Nah, I would be like, yo, Sabrina, like, I went on a date with such and such and, we kissed. I would tell her that because I'm supposed to be transparent with her. So it wasn't about the kiss. It was actually her not telling me. That was the thing that bothered me.
No, I hear that. That makes a lot of sense as well. I get why you would want to hear from her first. That's a trust thing. That's real. I ain't gonna lie to you. And I agree with you at that point. You know what I mean? It makes you not be able to trust a person or look at the person the same because now you probably wouldn't have told me in hindsight in the long run. Do you know what I mean? So I definitely get you on that point. Obviously then, with, Donovan telling you, at the time, did you not think anything of it? Because obviously, Donovan's got a connection with Sabrina. Donovan's with Carmen. Like, do you not think there was something a bit more that was going on?
In that moment when he told me, honestly, all I was thinking about was the information. I wasn't thinking about who told me. I was thinking about why Sabrina didn't tell me. In that moment when he told me, it was like, why didn't she tell me this? So I wasn't even thinking about it was coming from Donovan. I was thinking about why Sabrina didn't tell me. So that's where my thing was when actually he told me about the kids. That's the only thing that I was thinking about. Like, why is somebody else bringing me some information that Sabrina's supposed to tell me? Especially, and it's coming from another guy. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, why is he telling me this and she didn't tell me? So that's what I was thinking about in that moment. So that's why I had to process it and think, like, and that's why I didn't talk to her, because I was processing and thinking. That's why I didn't talk to her.
I understand.
So I was going through those, you know, those thoughts and those emotions or whatever. I was like, okay. And then when she called me and reached out and said she wanted to go on a date, that's when, you know, we talked about it and we talked about everything and we aired everything out.
When you obviously hear her side of the story, do you kind of understand where she's coming from with the kiss situation? Like, in terms of the fact that Donovan didn't give her a chance to actually tell you.
I don't think she would have told me.
She probably wouldn't have. I'm gonna be honest with you. I mean, I wouldn't. But I'm saying, like, in terms of the fact that, you know, he played a card here. You know, I've told Donovan this, so he really knows. He played a card here, which is he trumped her in that moment because he didn't give her a chance. Giving her a chance would have been him telling her, "We need to tell Demetrius. That's your connection. That's my boy. I don't want to mess up anything, but you got to tell him because it's gonna mash up our friendship," kind of thing. That would have been sensible, wise behavior. He doesn't do that. He goes in front and tells you. Now looking back on it, you know, can you also now see maybe where Sabrina's coming from? You know what I'm saying? Because that person doesn't get a chance to even say anything. Even if we probably both know she ain't gonna say nothing. Okay. At the beginning, they had a pact. And one person broke their pact.
I mean, were we in high school?
No, but we're two consenting adults who when I say, obviously, look, we don't want anyone to, because we don't want to mash up the thing. You stay your side, you stay your side. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, we're from the streets, we know. You know, sometimes, hey, I come through. It's not it doesn't have to be a massive thing for anybody. You know what I mean? I do my thing, you do your thing. You're not expecting you to shout from the rooftops.
No, but I expect from my end, for me to know what's going on and not get slapped in the face. But from her standpoint, let me take myself out of my shoes and put it in hers. I get where she's coming from by saying, hey, me and Donovan made a pact to say we wasn't going to say anything. I get that part. I get it. Do I understand it? No, but I get it. You know what I mean? Like, her obligation in that moment was to Donovan because it was something that they both shared. Cool. But when you turn around and say, Demetrius, I still want to talk to you, now you're saying that, okay, I'm talking to you. So that's why for me, it wouldn't have been a pact. It would have been like, yo, if we openly dating, we openly dating. If we kissing and we two consenting adults or whatever, hey, it is what it is. We kissed. Okay, that's what it was. I felt the move. The spirit moved me, and you know, we kissed. You know what I mean? Like, and that's just what it was. That's how I see it. Like, I'm not going to try to hide it. You know, whatever. You know, if she did it, he did it. Whatever. I'm not going to try to hide it. Like, for what?
So question, that obviously affected your trust for Sabrina, right?
Yeah, it did, yeah.
Which would be fair play, because I would agree with you. Does that affect your trust for Donovan, though? Because he didn't kiss once.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't look at Donovan. I don't look at Donovan in that same way I look at, you know what I'm saying? It's like Sabrina. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no, I get you. That's your girl. That's like potential girl, right? But if Donovan's saying you lot are cool, can you trust his coolness? Me and Donovan are cool. But I have to be objective in terms of doing my job. Can you say that you are gonna be fully cool with Donovan if he kissed her several times, knowing you had a connection with her, and this whole friend thing suddenly comes out towards the end?
Yeah, you know what? I can be, because in that moment when they were kissing, it was free game. You see what I'm saying? Like, when you're dating, it's free game. So if they're kissing, how can I get mad at Donovan for kissing her and she's dating him? You see what I'm saying?
No, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I can't get mad at him for kissing her because they're dating. So I can't get mad at that. What I got mad about was her not telling me. He told me. She didn't tell me.
Yeah, but I'm saying when you look at it though, and you look at the situation, maybe not in a moment, but when you look back, timing. That's what I'm trying to say to you, like timing. And then wouldn't you question why this person is now deciding at this particular time?
Yeah, but I did that to him. I did that.
Okay,
I did question.
okay.
I did. Oh, okay. If that's the question that did I question it? Absolutely. Yes. I did question it. I did. I was like, you telling me this now that we're coming off of like, you know, that like the getaway or whatever, you know, things happened or whatever. Like, yeah, of course I questioned it. I mean, I would be lying if I said I didn't. I absolutely questioned it. But he only knows the real reason why he did. I can't answer that question. You know what I mean? But
that's what I'm saying. How can you trust that? Because both parties are untrustworthy in this situation. I have someone telling me they love me and care for me, but you was here smooching. And you're only now telling me why? Why bother telling me? And you know what I mean? If you care about me, why not put the girl on so that, hey, go and tell him. And if then she decides she's going to dawdle on it, then you come and tell me. There was none of that happening.
I mean, that's what I would have done. But I mean,
why would you have done? That's what I'm trying to say. That's what we would have done.
Yeah, I would have done that. I would have done that.
Why would you have done that?
But everybody doesn't think, you know, logically in moments though. You know what I mean?
So that's what I'm saying. How can you trust that then? Because if we both know how we think, I know you sound in your thinking, so you would have done the exact same thing I would have done, but someone else did not do that. So I'm saying to you, how can then you trust Donovan but then not trust Sabrina?
Trust them in what way though?
So okay, if someone's saying your friend, if someone's saying friend, how do you trust a friendship? I can only trust you to a certain degree. If
you saying I can only trust, yeah, I mean me and Donovan haven't known each other for 3 years or nothing like that. So
yeah,
I don't know his I don't know nobody on the cast like that. You know, besides what we hung out on the cast, like we just found each other and started getting to know each other. So I can't say, do I trust Donovan fully? No.
Oh, fair enough.
No, I'll be lying if I say, do I trust him fully? I don't trust nobody fully.
Oh no, that's avoidant. That's our thing.
Right? Like what?
Yeah, I get you.
Like, yeah, unless you're like my girl, you know what I'm saying, or my sisters, like, and if you're my girl, and I say, hey, you're my lady, yeah, I'm gonna trust you. But we talking about in that instance, absolutely not. No.
That's fair. Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair. Now, you said my interview, Sabrina, I didn't hold her to account. So what would you say that she needed to be held to account? What would you have said she needs to be held to account?
No, I just think you went real light on her, Kojo.
Okay,
right. Like I think you was a little smitten. You know what I'm saying? You was like, oh, you're beautiful, and you know beautiful. All those different things. You know, I was like, because I mean I didn't watch it and when it happened, but I watched it like later. I was like, yo, like he's going like real light on, you know what I'm saying, on Sabrina. Because matter of fact, one thing is you talked about the co-leadership.
Yes. Sorry, I almost forgot.
Submissiveness and things like that. You didn't dig deep like how you normally would dig deep when it came to that subject and different things during that interview. So I paid attention to that. You know, I paid attention. I paid attention to that. So I was just like, Like, so he didn't dig deep because if it was somebody else, you would have like had follow-on questions. Like, what do you mean by that? Dig a little deeper. Like, I want to get like you didn't do that with Sabrina. You know what I mean?
Because she answered the question, isn't it? She doesn't want to do co-leadership. That's the point.
You said no. You took the answer that she gave. You was like, oh, okay, I get it. I understand.
Yeah, because she doesn't want to do co-leadership.
You didn't say that though.
It's not what she wanted. She didn't want co-leadership. It's not why I said. Didn't she say that?
No, she was saying that is there a such thing as co-leadership?
No, there isn't. That's the reason why I said what I said. I said I don't believe in that. I don't think that exists.
It doesn't exist.
It doesn't. There's no such thing.
Somebody's always a little more than the other person.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
There's no such thing as because co-leadership means that we're both on the same playing field and we're going to. Somebody's always going to be a little bit more than the other. So there's no such thing as co-leadership. They say co-pilot, right? But there's a pilot and a co-pilot, right? They don't say co-pilot and they're talking about both of them. They say a pilot and a co-pilot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the pilot is in charge. He tells the co-pilot or he's like, hey, I want to do this. Is this okay? And the co-pilot gives them the information that he needs, and he flies the planes or course corrects or do the things that he needs to do to fly the plane. But there's no such thing as co-leadership where we're both on the same even playing field.
Was that the kind of conversation you guys had as well?
We battled about that a little bit.
What was the battle like about? What was that?
We came like when my friend said submissive, right? She said, what do you think? What kind of woman would Demetrius be with or would want? He said someone that's willing, keyword, willing. Not saying that, hey, you have to be. Someone that's willing to be submissive. Submissive to me means trust. You know what I mean? Point blank, trust. You trust me to provide for you, protect you, and profess my love for you. Like, you trust me to do those things and to put you in a safe space so you could be comfortable to be like, I don't have to carry the weight of the world on my shoulders. I know he got me.
Got it.
I know he got me. Because he's gonna die trying if he can. That's me. You know what I mean? So for when I think about submissive, that's what I think about. It's about her trusting me, about a woman trusting me in order to, make sure the family is good. Because at the end of the day, if we fall off a cliff, guess who's going along with that cliff? I'm going along with the cliff too. It's just not her going off of the cliff, it's me too. So for me, it's like not saying that I have to lead in a way to where it's like, and you said that too, like a controlling type of way. I heard you, Kojo, when you said that.
I said that, the nature might be a little bit controlling. Yeah, I did.
Yeah, so it's like I'm not a controlling person in my leadership style. Like I say, hey, what do you think about this? If you're in a relationship with me, anybody that was in a relationship with me can't say that I've never been that person. I've always involved them in decisions that I made. I was like, hey, what do you think about this? Or what do you think I should do with this? That's me. That's who I am. Because I want you to be a part of what I have going on. But at the end of the day, I want to be the one that makes the decision for the family in order for us to move forward. I don't think there's anything wrong with the guy being that leader to make sure the family is good and moving us along through life. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. That's what I was shown by my uncle. And that's how I, grew up, and that's what he showed me. So it stuck with me, you know what I mean? And that's just how I am. I don't think it's anything wrong with that. So when people say submissive, they always go to like the crazy part of submissive. Like, I want you to do what I say. I want you to be barefoot and pregnant. Like, I want to control your every move. No, it's not that. It's just understanding that I am a leader and I can lead a family, and I want to be able to lead you, and I want you to trust me in that way. That's it.
Why do you feel Sabrina felt like you was a bit of she said you're a bit of a drill sergeant? Why do you think she felt like that?
Sabrina liked to be in control. She don't want to admit it. Sabrina likes to be in control. She has a control thing too. Like, I don't know if she admitted it or not.
That's why I said both of you got a control thing. I think both of you are beautiful together, but you just couldn't work it out. Right. Sorry, go on.
But no, Sabrina likes control. She likes to be in control. Because if you go back to the episode where I was talking to her ex, which is Milton, I asked him, and if you go back to it, you see, like, hey, I asked him, I was like, what do you think about the decision making? He was like, oh, she wants to be a part of every decision that's made. I said, oh, okay. I said, so what would happen if I make a decision and she's not involved? He was like, oh, it would be hell. It would be, you wouldn't be able, like, so I was like, oh, okay. So she does want to be in control. She does want to know every single thing that's going on. You know what I'm saying? And that's okay if that's the type of relationship that you want. But if you want someone that's going to be a leader, that doesn't go together. Like, I'm going to actually ask for your counsel and ask you on like houses and cars and vacations and things. Absolutely. But every little thing that I do to make sure the family is good, I can't promise you that I'm gonna tell you 100% of everything.
I agree.
I can't promise that. But the big things, you absolutely will know. We're gonna talk about it before that happens. Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think you made the same point that I made as well. That's what I said. I think both of you are quite similar. I think you butted heads because there is, like you said, she wants control. You want to lead, control, whichever you want to call it as. And there was a button of heads. How do you feel about the fact that she said the name situation, last name?
I was lost. I was like, what?
Why was it not?
I was like, what? Like, huh? Because I think that signifies unity.
Mm,
You know, I think that signifies we're committing to one another. Yes, you have my last name. I have to commit to you just like how you commit to me.
mm,
You know what I mean? And you have my last name was like, hey, we're building a family together. How are we gonna have kids? What, the kids gonna have two last names? Like we're committing to being a family together.
mm,
So for me, that just signifies unity. Like, okay, you change your last name to my last name. We have kids, everybody, you know, that just signifies a family. You know, you still have your own, like it signifies to me that you want to still have your own identity. You know what I mean? But you're still going to have your own identity without your last name. If you have my last name, you're still going to have your identity. You just will be with me in a family. But you still will have your identity. You're not going to lose yourself. But, you know, for her, it's a big thing. It's a big thing for her.
So when you obviously realize it's a big thing for her and you realize that potentially she's not going to submit, what was your natural kind of, what was your kind of response then in those moments?
The thing was, like, I was willing to, and I think y'all saw that throughout, like, how that last, I think, scene or episodes played out. Like, I was willing to try to, like, make it work. You know what I'm saying? I was going to try to, like, say, you know what, Demetrius, it ain't that deep. Like, you know what I'm saying? Let's see, you know what I'm saying, if this can work. You know what I mean? Like, let's go off. If we're going to leave together, then we can actually, without the cameras, without all these other things, like it's outside influences and things like that, let's see if it can work. I think it could work if we have compromise on both sides. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I was thinking. Like those, like the last name thing, her not meeting my family, you know, and her saying that she wanted to leave, you know, like and choose herself. Which I don't think. Why would you choose yourself if you came here to actually like find somebody? But anyway, but in those moments, you know, I was just like, you know what? I can compromise on some of the things that how I'm feeling or whatever. Like I know she likes control, so I can compromise on if she wants to be included. You know what I'm saying? In certain things, let's talk about those certain things she want to be included in. Those were the type of conversations that I was willing to have, not during the season, but after if we chose each other. You know what I mean? And that's why you saw, I was like, it's going to be a different dynamic if we leave together. You'll see a whole different side of me. You know what I mean? But she wasn't willing to take that risk. Every relationship is going to be a risk. You know what I mean? Like everything is not going to be 100%. Everything is not going to be that way. So it's a risk that you came on the show thinking that you was going to find somebody or you might not find somebody. It's a risk you saying that you're in a relationship or you're not in a relationship. If you get in one, it's a risk. When you got married, it was a risk. Like it's risk in things. So I was willing to take that risk and leave with her and talk things through. You know what I mean? Because I think it was a combination of her thinking in her head about how I was and me telling her I wasn't and her not willing to take that risk and us had that conversation when we left.
Woo, okay, Chile. It's tight out here, bro. It's tight out here. I have a question about yourself and Sabrina. Did you realize she was copying and pasting? We've been hearing that she's been copying and pasting these messages.
I mean, she like I didn't compare our conversations with but I know she's big into astrology, right? So it was coming up in conversation. So it was like that was her thing, dealing with her connections. It was just saying like, hey, yo, she was doing that to me, or she was saying that to me. She was sending me this, so you know what I mean. So it was that type of thing, you know. And it didn't come up like we were actually like talking about it. You know what I'm saying? It was just like we were talking about something, and it was like, oh, well, Sabrina sent me this. I was like, oh shit, she sent me that too. You know what I'm saying? They was like, oh shit, she sent me that too. You know what I mean? So it was that type of thing. It wasn't like a comment. We was having like a conversation because I never talked about anything I talked about with none of the women, with the guys. Like I didn't talk about nothing with the guys. You know what I mean? Like the whole Donovan thing, he came and told me that. And the whole Tori situation, you know, as y'all saw that we talked at the getaway, because me and Tori never talked until the getaway. We never talked.
And when you spoke at the getaway, what was revealed?
No, it was just like, he was like, hey, you're a good guy. I said, man, you're a good dude too. I know you're here for love. He's like, I know you're here for love. He was like, just make sure, you know, whoever you choose, whether it be Sabrina or whoever, you know, make sure, you know, she has your best interest. Like, we was on some like grown man type stuff. You know what I mean? I mean, he let me know some stuff or whatever. Like, Sabrina had came to his house. Like, I'll let Tori tell you.
Yeah, she said, no. She actually, he already said that, and then she,
she came to his house and said the drill song thing, you know, whatever. She wasn't going to choose me or Donovan, so you know, all of those type things. So it's a lot of things that, like, you know, that I got to where it was like, well, if you wasn't going to make a decision or you wasn't going to choose anybody, why did you wait until, you know, then to say you didn't want to choose nobody?
That's a big question. Why did she wait?
Yeah, why did you wait? You know what I mean? So it's just that type of thing that I just think about. You know, like, I don't know. She only can answer that. But those were the things that I knew, but I just didn't say anything. You know what I mean? I already knew because he told me. You know what I mean? So I already knew, but I just didn't say anything. So you saw the reserve, me chilling, and her saying that she wants me to show more. How am I gonna show more and you haven't made a decision yet? Like, if you make a decision and I can show you more if you want to make a decision. And then Tori telling me things and, you know, all these other things going on and me seeing it, like, I'm not about to give you 100% of me and you not giving me 100% of you.
So you backed up.
So I backed up. Yeah. And I was like, whenever you make a decision, that's why I said in the brunch, whenever you make a decision and you make that decision and you say it's Demetrius, then you will be able to see the entire Demetrius. You'll be like, damn, he was telling the truth on how he moves or how he is when he's in a relationship. You would have saw that. But you chose not to. So that's on you. That's not on me. That's on you.
Woo, Chile. Is there anything else you would like to clear up about the Sabrina and Demetrius situation?
No, like, you know, people make choices. People make choices, and then you have to just live with those choices. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, it is what it is. Like, I don't have no hard feelings towards Sabrina, nothing like that. I think she's dope. She's doing her thing out here. You know what I mean? So I don't have no hard feelings towards Sabrina. Like, I just, you know, wish her the best.
There is one question in my mind. The talk of obviously you being in the background. Were you putting in work behind the scenes and we couldn't see because we didn't see it on the screen? So
y'all didn't see a lot of me on the screen.
We didn't see a lot of you on the screen,
right?
So.
Y'all didn't see a lot. Oh, matter of fact, I'm glad you brought that up. The bus date.
Yes.
The bus date. The bus date was, I wasn't even supposed to be at the bus date. So I walked up with AP. It was Wiley, Tori, and Sabrina. I walked up with AP. I met AP prior to when we went bowling. So I already met her. So what was supposed to happen was I was supposed to introduce AP to the group. Supposed to introduce AP to the group. Cool. What was told to me was introduce AP to the group. Boom, you're gone. You're not going to go on a date. You're not going to go on the tour around the city. You're going to leave. Cool. I can do that. Plus, I told you I was already in school. So I had an exam that I had to do. So I came out because I told him I wasn't coming. So I came out, you know what I'm saying, just to do that and then leave. So comes to the date, change. Hey, we want you to come on the date. I'm like, why am I going on the date? Like, I told you I have something to do. So I was like, you know what? I got an hour. So I get on the bus and it was like, hey, Demetrius, we want you to sit in the back. We want Wiley and AP and Tori and Sabrina. This was the same person that no longer worked with the show or whatever. This was the same person that was telling me all this stuff. So I was like, okay, cool. I go sit in the back. He was like, hey, what we're going to do is we're going to rotate people. We're going to rotate you with Tori and Wiley so y'all can get a chance to talk to the women. I was like, all right, cool. So I'm sitting in the back. I'm sitting in the back waiting on my turn. So what you see is the first snap of y'all see me just looking around. That's when we first started. That's when we first started to move. So I'm in my mind, I'm just sitting there chilling. I'm just looking at the sites. I'm just waiting for them to say, hey, we're going to switch and we're going to put Wiley here or Tori here or whatever, which it did happen, but it wasn't on camera because Tori was in the back as well. And I was sitting up talking to Sabrina and he didn't he did the same thing I did.
So why is Sabrina in the cutscene say like maybe I don't know if it was the next different scene she was talking to and they just cut edited it in. In the cutscene, she in the confessional, she goes, and you look like you were just not paying attention. You
Right.
weren't really
And
there,
that
like...
was weird to me because I told Sabrina. I told her, I was like, yo, production, I wasn't even supposed to be on the date. She called me that night after the date. I was irritated as hell because I wasn't even supposed to be there. So it was like I had that exam, so I had to turn that in late. I wasn't supposed to be on the date, so I'm just like, okay, I wasn't even supposed to be there. I gave y'all like 2.5 hours, so I wasn't even supposed to be there. Sabrina called me, and then she was like, "What's wrong?" I was like, "I wasn't supposed to be on the date." Like I was irritated as hell. I gave her that little hug, as she said. I gave her that. I was irritated as hell. I'm not even gonna lie, I was. So she called me and she said, "Oh, what's wrong?" And I told her exactly what I'm telling you right now. I told her the exact same thing. So for her to say that, oh, she doesn't believe it or whatever, what reason do I have to lie? Like, what am I getting about lying? That's the truth. Like that's what happened. I literally told her that the night of when she called me. I told her the exact same thing. So for her, you know what I'm saying, it was like she said, well, I don't, in that confessional, when she said, I don't know what's wrong with Demetrius or whatever, I'm like, yo, I told you what was wrong. So for you to act like you don't know what's going on in that moment, it definitely threw me off. I was like, what? Are you doing this for the show? Are you doing this, like, what's going on? So it was that narrative that was painted. Have I done the whole cat and mouse thing like I said earlier? Yes. But in that moment, that wasn't that. You know what I mean? So that was the whole thing with, you know, the bus thing with you know, how I was in the back, because we all rotated. Like we all rotated. They kept me on the bus at a later scene. Like they held me on the bus. They held me on the bus.
Hostage.
Like it was like they was trying to actually like paint something. They was like, we don't want you to get off the bus yet. We want you to sit on the bus. Everybody else got off the bus, did scenes. I was the only one that stayed on the bus. And Sabrina saw this. So I'm like, you don't notice this? You don't see what's going on right now? So when I tell you this and you say you don't really believe, like, I'm like, yo, that's weird, because I told you this the exact same night. So yeah, it's just like I don't got no reason to, like, one thing about me, I'm gonna keep it all the way 100. I'm not gonna lie about nothing. Like if I did something, I can acknowledge that I did it. But that wasn't that. It wasn't that, because Tori rotated, I rotated. The only person that wasn't back there was Wally, because he just rotated from the front seat to the seat where Tori was sitting. Yeah. So that's what it was.
Okay.
I keep it all the way 100, Kojo. That's me.
Hey, I even said, you know, I think you've kept 100 all the way through, to be honest. Yeah, bro. No, I definitely hear you, bro. I don't think there's anything more that I think I've asked all my questions in regards to the situation. You know, I think I've asked all the questions. I mean, for you, obviously on the show, at the end of it, what do you feel you've learned from this process?
I think I learned more about myself. I think I definitely, as I look back at it, you know, I definitely stayed true to who I am and to what I represent. I think I'm an intentional guy that came across like you didn't see me a lot on the screen, but I did a lot, but they just didn't show it, which is fine. I'm cool with that. But how I came across on the screen, a lot of people just didn't know a lot about me. And they was like, I would get like, well, we don't really know nothing about you or whatever. I'm like, that's what they showed. I mean, I can't help what they showed. Like, but like as you get to know me though, like you're like, damn, you totally different. Like what I thought you were on the screen, you're totally different, you know, in person or when you're around me. Now I am structured, I am disciplined, I am intentional, I analyze, like I am those things. You know what I mean? But I'm not just those things. You know what I mean? Like I go out, I have fun, I let my hair down, I drink, I'm a whole lot of things. You know what I mean? But what you saw was just one thing, and that would confuse people and let people think that, oh, he's just this one way. He don't have no personality. He don't talk. He don't say nothing. But no, I have different levels to me. You know what I mean? As you get closer to me, you get different levels. You can't let everybody see everything.
That part I agree. 100% agree.
You can't let everybody see everything, especially on that platform. It's like you want to show people who you are, but you don't want to show too much because you want to still, like for me, I want to reserve something for our relationship. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh damn, like this new babe, like, oh, okay, I didn't like, yeah, like that's how I
am. Okay, yeah, I'm with you.
There's levels to it. Like Meek Mill said, there's levels to
it. There is a question that they were saying, obviously, the streets are talking.
The streets are talking?
You're a taken man now, sir.
Oh, the streets talking like that?
It's hot.
Yeah, I'm a taken man. Yeah, I'm in a relationship.
That's what the streets wanted to know. They wanted to know how you met your new person's person.
How I met her?
Yeah, personal person.
It's a funny story, right?
Yeah, we're listening.
I actually met her through Clifton. Clifton introduced us.
Love that.
Yeah, so Clifton is one of her clients. She's an esthetician.
Okay. Yes, yeah.
Yeah, so Clifton is one of her clients. She does facials and all those those esthetician services or whatever. And I think she knew Clifton for like a year. Like he was her client for like a year. You know what I mean? So I guess they was talking one day, and he was asking her, is she in a relationship? What she's about. And he thought we was a good match. So he hit me up and was like, hey, you know what I mean? Like, I want you to meet somebody. I think y'all be a good fit. So he hit me up and we met and just been inseparable since. You know what I'm saying? Like it just clicked. You know what I mean? Like
it made sense.
Yeah, it made sense. He knew what he was seeing.
He knew a brother's type.
Yeah, he knew what I liked and the type of personality that I like because we talked. You know what I mean? He heard me talking to men's lounge. He saw how I was moving and things like that. So of course we're closer now. That's like my big bro now. But then like he knew, what I'm saying, what I liked. So when he saw her and he interacted with her or saw her, he was like, you know what? I think they'll be a good match. So he hooked that up and that's what it was.
I like that. Interesting stuff. This is interesting. Okay, cool. I hear that. Is there anything else that you'd like to clear up before we conclude the interview? Anything else that's on your mind? It's like, let me just talk about that real quick.
The me telling my mom about the kiss. That's one thing that popped in my head just now. Yes, I did tell my mom about the kiss. Absolutely. And
wait, your mom or your auntie?
Well, I call her my mom.
Okay.
I call her my second mom.
Okay. Cool.
But yeah, my aunt / mom. I told her about the kiss. But Sabrina knew I told her about the kiss. We talked about the kiss the same night that we talked about the whole her and Donovan kissing thing. I told her that I told my aunt about the kiss. And she actually talked through it because she was like, hell no, I'm not meeting her. You did and yeah, absolutely. I get how she felt. But I also, from my standpoint, I looked at it like, if you're really trying to rock with me, this wouldn't bother you. You know what I mean? Like, you would be like, hey, I'm dating. Yeah, I kissed Donovan, but I'm really feeling Demetrius. Like, yeah, I kissed him in that moment, but after I found out this or whatever you wanted to say, I'm feeling your son. Like, I really want to try to build something with him. If you really was trying to stand on what you're trying to do. That's how I took it. You know what I mean? Because I would have done it. If I kissed somebody and she was like, hey, I want you to meet my family, I'm like, okay, cool. Well, he knows about the kiss or she knows about, okay, cool. I can talk about it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to try to hide. I can talk about it. It is what it is. Like, we're dating and like, yes, I kissed somebody. I felt it in the moment. I thought we were clicking, but come to find out we weren't, whatever the case may be. We're adults. So we should be able to talk through that and be transparent about what's going on. So for me in that moment when she said that, she didn't want to meet them, I don't know. That's another, like you ain't trying to rock with me like that. Because like, if you were, it wouldn't be no problem for you going to meet my mom and saying that, yeah, you did this. And that's what it was. But the thing was, what I told her, my mom wasn't even going to ask her about the kiss. Like, she wasn't even going to ask her. She just really wanted to get to see her in person and know who I was talking about throughout the whole season. She was like, I really want to meet this Sabrina. Are you think you're going to make it to that point to where she gets to meet me? I was like, yeah, probably. So that's what it really was. Like, I wouldn't set her up to be like, she's going to drill you on national TV and make you look bad or whatever. Nah, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that to nobody. It's just an action was for me to say, hey, you can stand on what you did and take that accountability to say, yes, I kissed someone if you were asked by her. That's what it was. And I told her, didn't tell her in like a malicious way. I was like, yeah, she kissed Donovan, but you know, it is what it is. We're dating. Like, it was light. It wasn't nothing heavy. It
wasn't heavy.
Yeah, it was light. It was real light. And she was like, well, when I get to meet her, I'll see what she's about. Or what I was like, okay, yeah, you get to meet her and you see why I like her, or you see why I rock with her, or whatever. And that was that. It wasn't nothing heavy. But, you know, people, like, if you're ashamed of doing something, then you hide.
I can't argue that.
I'm just saying, like, if we adults, if you did it, stand on it. That's all. It's always principles behind everything. It's just the principle.
That part I agree with. Yeah, principles are important. I mean, principles are part of. I guess principles are important for me anyway. Maybe because of the emotional avoidant part, but principles are important. That's how we stay alive. That's how I see it.
Absolutely, it's the principle of it. If it's like if you knew it was part of the show, like you knew you was going to meet, you know, the parents and, you know, it's a part of the show. So if you were really trying to rock with me like that, then you would have met her. I just took that as if you wasn't trying to rock with me. So that's cool. I'm good. But I'm just saying, like, in that moment, that's what I took in that moment. That information that was given to me without her saying it. Like, it was like, nah, you're not really trying to rock with me because you can't even sit and have a conversation with my mom or my aunt and say, hey, yeah, if she was to ask you, but she wasn't going to ask you, like, yeah, you kissed somebody, how are you feeling about him? It would have been real light. She's not even that type of person. But, you know, she would have known that if she would actually met her.
That was tight. Oh, when I interviewed Sabrina, she was like saying she didn't. Basically, what was your agenda when you're sent from Tommy to Sabrina?
Oh, my agenda. I had a decision that I had to make. It was either I can keep her or get rid of her.
Did she know that?
She didn't know. She didn't know that. I told her after.
I think she made a point that she was already going to choose.
Yeah, choose herself.
Yeah.
Like, you know how people during the season, it was just so crazy because everybody was like, it was a lot of people saying stuff and people knowing what was going to happen.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? And I'm saying like before eliminations and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So people knew like, oh, if I'm on it, I'm gonna get eliminated or whatever the case may be. Like, I stayed out of all of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of that stuff was happening. So it's just her in that moment. She probably was thinking that, okay, she probably made a decision to choose herself. I'm not saying that she did. She probably did. But I wasn't there to either eliminate her or keep her. I just had in that moment, I was going to let the conversation guide the decision that I needed to make. You know what I'm saying? So if she was open to, you know, building that trust back because, you know, she broke the trust with me when it came to the Donovan situation and all the other things that she did during like the whole not meeting my parents and things like that. Because when I sat down, I was like, hey, you didn't meet my parents. And that kind of like hurt my feelings. You know what I'm saying? Like, I told her that. So all of those things, I was still willing to move forward, but I was waiting on the conversation to take place to see how it would unfold. But she came straight in and was like, well, you know what? I'm choosing myself. I was like, well, that's why you saw the look on my face like, what?
She go ahead of the devil.
Like, I didn't come here to like just get rid of you. I just came here to have a conversation with you to see what I needed to do. Because Tommy told me, Demetrius, you can keep her or get rid of her. I'm going to leave all of that decision to you in that conversation that you have on a date. So that's what I was going to do. So he jumped the gun. Like, she jumped the gun and it was like,
somebody warned her, isn't it? Somebody warned her, isn't it? Someone snitched. But that's not beside the point.
Or she might have chosen herself. I don't know. Only she knows that. But that wasn't my purpose in telling her she's got to go home. That wasn't my purpose. My purpose was to have a conversation and say, hey, let's move forward. Or, hey, you know what? I don't think this is going to work. You know what I mean? So that's what I was sent to do.
Okay. Well, is there any projects we can get behind, Demetrius? Any projects we can get behind if we can support?
Nah, I mean, I ain't selling no products. You know, I'm a fashion guy. You know what I mean? So you can just follow my Instagram. You got a husband, a boyfriend, a child, whatever you need, to get some fashion or some styling done or whatever. Just hit me up on Instagram. I mean, I'm not selling no products or nothing like that. Just hit me up on Instagram, and we can do some business like that.
I love that. Well, I appreciate you coming on here, Kat. As I said, you gave straight answers. You know what I mean? You're to the point. I like that. And also as well, you shared your self-awareness as well, concerning, what you needed to work on. And I appreciate that, because that takes some vulnerability. And that also takes, work as well on your part to have done. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I appreciate you sharing those thoughts. I mean, it's been a really good conversation. Like I said, I got a vastly different impression of yourself from what we saw on the show. So it's good to have had you on here and got to see a different side to you and the personality that comes out. Do you know what I mean? So
what they say in the comments, I need to see what the chat's saying. Now I'm joking.
To be honest, you know what? It's a bit of a split. It's a bit of a split, I would say. Yeah, it's a bit of a split. There's still some Sabrina fans out here.
Oh, absolutely. Hey, rock on, people, rock on.
Man said rock on.
Rock on, people.
Oh, rock on. But no, it's been a good conversation. I honestly appreciate you sharing your thoughts. And like I said, you're straight to the point, which is good. It means we can have actual conversation and not have to work around and ask several questions over and over again. So I appreciate that from yourself, Cap. And we know good luck in a new relationship. I wish you all the best. You know what I'm saying? And hopefully get to hear wedding bells, maybe. You know what I mean? Let me not be premature. You know what I'm saying? Let me not jinx it, they say. But listen, audience, it's been a good one. You came out 2,000 strong, came out to see our boy Demetrius.
Oh, yeah.
And he dropped some bars on us, you know what I'm saying? In a respectful manner, you know what I'm saying? And you gave us your side of the tale, and it was good to get both your side and Sabrina's side and Donovan's side as well, actually, as well. And I think we get a bit more of a holistic picture of what went down. So very much appreciate, Captain. Thank you again for being true and honest. And maybe we'll have you in a different capacity back on the show. Maybe you can talk some fashion to us in the future, give the men some tips.
Absolutely. Yeah, just let me know, just let me know. I'll be here.
All right. I appreciate it. Audience, don't do anything I wouldn't do. There's not much I wouldn't do. So be careful out there. Them streets are cold, baby. They cold, baby. Absolutely. All right. We appreciate y'all.